This is session 1 of your traffic generation and SEO training. This is the 24-hour traffic plan where you're going to discover how to drive traffic within 24 hours to your website. So inside the 24-hour traffic plan, the very first step that you need to do is choose a targeted buyer keyword phrase. And so what you do is I use the Google AdWords keyword tool, and I'm going to show you that in the next video, where we basically go through and step by step help you identify a keyword phrase inside of your niche that people are looking for. Now, if you own a small business and maybe you are a chiropractor in Tulsa, Oklahoma, for example, your targeted keyword phrase would be Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors, or it might be Tulsa chiropractors or something of that nature, because that's what people are most likely going to look for to find your business. If you are selling, weight loss information, your targeted keyword is not going to be a narrow keyword like weight loss. It's going to be a buyer, a focus keyword. So it might be something like weight loss diet information, because if they're typing in that kind of keyword phrase, there's not as many searches, but they're a very targeted buyer. Like if somebody's typing in weight loss diet information, they want to buy information. They want to find information on weight loss diet, so they might buy information if you offer. They might opt into your list. And let's say that you are a let's just say you are a lawyer in Chicago, Illinois. Your targeted keyword phrase would be Chicago, Illinois lawyer, or it's you happen to be a church in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It might be Stillwater, Oklahoma church, churches, Oklahoma, churches, Stillwater, Stillwater churches. That would be your targeted keyword phrase. And so the main focus here is to narrow down on a targeted buyer keyword phrase that's related to your niche. And I'm going to show you on the screen how to do that, but you can use the AdWords keyword tool. It's ADWORDS, AdWords keyword tool, and you just type in the root domain name. So for example, you are like a business in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you might say Tulsa chiropractors, and see what kind of keyword options come up that way. And so that's the first step, because once you have this keyword, this is the keyword that you're going to target in this 24-hour plan, and you want it to be a keyword that has some search volume. And the AdWords keyword tool will identify different keyword phrases that have search volume, so you see ones that can potentially drive you traffic. And keep in mind as you go through the steps and this process that you can implement this as many times as you want on the same website and get great results. So you can keep going through this step for a different focus keyword phrase, for example. So the first step, after you've identified the keyword phrase, the very next step is to go ahead and submit your website to social bookmarking websites using www.onlywire.com and www.socialmarking.com. Now, what's onlywire.com and socialmarking.com is those are places that have information and links to websites where you can access social bookmarking websites. Now, social bookmarking site, if you're not aware, is a site basically that's set up with the sole purpose of allowing people to share links with each other. And people will go to social bookmarking sites and they will share stories and say, I like this story, so I'm gonna submit it to this site and see if other people like it. And sites like dig.com, reddit.com, mix.com, those are huge social bookmarking type websites that people are using. It's social bookmarking because there's a large audience of people using it. Well, these traffics are high authority sites. They have tons of traffic, and the search engines will actually rank the individual bookmarked pages, meaning that if you submit a link on there, it will actually submit your link on an internal page. And so that's what the power of social bookmarking websites is. And using a tool called onlywire.com, it will automatically submit your website to about 20 social bookmarking websites at one time. And so I'm going to show you how to set up that account at onlywire.com in an upcoming video here. And the same thing, socialmarking.com, it's similar to OnlyWire. OnlyWire does it automatically, Social marketing kind of helps automate the process though, to where it gives you a list of an additional set of social bookmarking websites to consider, of quite a bit more than the 20 OnlyWire covers. So you find more sites that you could submit your business to, and it will actually bring up a list where if you just click on the name of the website, and it will actually pre-fill the forms for the social bookmarking. And because when you're doing social bookmarking, the forms typically will ask for the title of the story, which is going to be your main keyword phrase. So that's very important. When I say submit it, you want to submit your main keyword phrase in the title. Next, you want to have your description, and inside the description, you want to try to incorporate your keyword phrase where it makes sense, and put a one or two sentence that entices people to go to your website or offer. So, as an example here, we're just going to stick with the Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors example. If you were to say, Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors, and you were going to use that as your keyword phrase, so you would create a story called Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors. If that was your website, that's what you would submit. Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors, and you would say, get your spine aligned with this powerful, with this recognized whatever, Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractor, as an example. And so that's what how you're going to submit to these social sites. And then they ask, usually after you've done your title and your description, they'll ask for a link. So you just plug in your link, and then if they ask for tags, it will plug in the tags. Well, the great thing with these two tools is they will automate this process. Now, the first time you do this, I'm going to warn you, it will take some time because you have to go in and set up these accounts. There's about 20 social bookmarking sites with onlywire.com that you'll want to set up, and there's like 50 or so sites with social marketing. Now, you don't need to set up all the accounts with socialmarketing.com if you don't want to, but you will want to at least set up the ones on OnlyWire, because that one will automatically do the submissions, and I'll show you how to utilize that, because that's a very powerful tool. And so in this step, once you've chosen your targeted buyer keyword phrase, and obviously you have your website ready to go so it can get traffic, you are going to go to onlywire.com, and after you've set up your account, you will go ahead and bookmark your site, at least all the sites on onlywire.com. That'll get you out there to about 15 to 20 or so websites on high traffic sites, and that's going to start the ball rolling and getting you some traffic. And that's also going to help the search engines possibly go and see if you change things on your site, or sometimes it will help them pick up your site if it's brand new, using this step alone, and that will help you get your site indexed faster, which means it comes up faster and higher in the search engines. The next thing you're going to do is ping your website using pingomatic.com. So you're going to go to www.pingomatic.com, and it's going to ask you to insert your blog. And if you're actually doing just a standard HTML website, it would just be your main URL. So if it's just a squeeze page, for example, it would just be your main URL that you are sending them to. And for those who aren't aware, squeeze page is a form where you have it set up to squeeze information out of people. So you're gathering names and emails, and that's an important strategy. So let's say again that you have a physical, an offline business or even an online business. You set up your website. You're going to go to www.pingomatic.com, and you will just follow their little basic steps, fill in their form, put in your URL where it says blog information, and then you're off to the races. Now, you can skip this step if you are actually using WordPress, because by default WordPress will do a ping to Pingomatic. And what Pingomatic does is it helps the search engines pick up all of the pages of help search engine pick up your site and help start the process of picking up pages of content within your website. And so that's important because you want your site to be found within the search engines, and pinging will help do that sometimes. And it also just kind of helps notify other directories that you have done something with your blog, and potentially you can get some traffic that way. But at least the most important factor I've seen is that it can assist in getting your site indexed. The next thing you're going to do is go to www.blogger.com, and you're going to create a blog and link to your website inside the first post on that blog. So for this step, you go to blogger.com and you set up your account, and to set up your account you just use your Google account information. And so you're just going to go ahead and set up your blogger.com account. If you already have Google Analytics, Google AdSense, Google AdWords, Google Gmail, any kind of Google account, you already have what you need to sign up for blogger.com. And if you don't, you can just set up your own Google account, and they will step you through the process of getting set up with Blogger. And so once you're set up, you just follow the instructions to get your blog set up. And again, we're going to have a video showing you how to set this up properly. But during that process, you're going to be asked to name your blog. And it's very important that you name your Blogger blog the main keyword phrase, in the .blogspot.com, because that's how it's going to come up. It's going to ask you for what name you want to use. So for this example, I would use Tulsa, Oklahoma Chiropractors .blogspot.com, because Tulsa, Oklahoma Chiropractors is my main keyword phrase. So it'd be Tulsa, Oklahoma Chiropractors, all run together, .blogspot.com, and you'll see that on that form when you're filling it out. Now, in the title of your blog, you obviously again use your keyword phrase, where it's going to ask you to name your blog or title your blog. You put in your main keyword phrase there, and what that's going to accomplish for you is, it's get your keyword phrase in the right spot so the search engines can pick up your Blogger blog, and it also helps basically tell the search engines that the content on that site is going to be relevant for that topic, and that will not only help that site come up in the search engines, but it also is going to help give that link that you're going to be sending to your website, because inside that first post on your Blogger blog, which all it needs to be is a short article of about 250 words talking about your niche, your keyword phrase. So obviously if you're a chiropractor, you might tell a little bit story about Tulsa, Oklahoma Chiropractors. If you are a lawyer in Chicago, you might write some information about being a lawyer in Chicago, and whatever the case might be, you can put that information in your first post. And inside that first post, you want to send a link over to your website inside that blogger.com blog post. Now the next thing you're going to do is, once you've created your first blogger.com blog post, you're going to open up the Blogger blog after you reviewed it and make sure everything looks good. You're going to go ahead and look at the bottom of your Blogger blog for something called Post Atom, and it's called Posts Atom, and you're actually going to click on that, and it's going to bring up what's called an RSS feed. Now RSS stands for Real Simple Syndication, and it's just basically a way for you to syndicate your content out there to a variety of different websites at once. And you're going to choose the choose the Post Atoms, and then what you're going to do is submit them to these two sites that I have up here. One's called feedag.com, and another one is called feedbase.net. And these are sites where people can submit their RSS feeds, because other webmasters and other people that have websites go in there to try to look at these RSS feeds. Plus, sometimes people will use these sites, to get their fresh, updated content. So you're trying to just create your, submit your content there. But what's going to happen is, especially feedag.com will rank high in the search engines when you submit it. And that's why it's very important that you named your blog your main keyword phrase. That's another reason it's very important, because it all kind of works synergistically together. All these things do. So you're going to go ahead and once you've opened up the Post Atom, you're going to go to your address bar, and you're going to see a bunch of characters. That's where you'd go to type in websites in your address bar, and you're going to simply copy and paste from the address bar, and you're going to just copy that URL, and then go right on over to feedag.com, and then click on submit in the top right corner is where it's at right now, and you choose submit. And then once you've hit submit, you just copy and paste that RSS feed URL that you got from the Post Atom. And once you do that, you just follow their on-screen instructions to hit submit. The same thing works for feedbase.net. You're just basically submitting the RSS feed from the blogger.com blog to feedbase.net, and that's going to help. All this is going to work together to build some links to your site, which will boost it up, and everything's going to works together. That's what's so great about it. Next thing you're going to do is go to blogger.com again, go to pingomatic.com using the steps on the first page, and you're going to go in there and actually ping your blogger.com blog, and that's going to help again, get that blogger.com blog now indexed, so that the link going from the blogger.com blog will actually benefit your website now. And all this stuff can work really, really quickly. And keep in mind, as you go through this first video, the following videos in this set actually go on the screen and I actually show you how I'm doing these different processes. So keep that in mind. That's very important. Step number 7 of this process is a little more difficult and time consuming, but all the more important. It's extremely important. For this step, what you're going to do is you're going to write a press release on your website and you're going to submit it to free press release websites. So what you're going to do is you're going to write a press release on your website, and so that would be a press release on your business, whatever it might be. And what a press release is basically it's a news release. It's information that's newsworthy about your company. And so inside your press release you want to have your title. So you have your title of your press release in there, and the title of the press release, you want to try to incorporate your keyword phrase. So you might, come up with a press release title like Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors, aligning Tulsa spines, for 100 years or whatever it is. So you come up with a spin or an angle that's kind of newsworthy. Whether it's, you're launching your new website, so so let's say your keyword phrase is golf drivers, titleless golf driver. So titleless golf driver's website, announces 1 year anniversary, 6-month anniversary, whatever the case may be of the website. You basically kind of get the idea, and I'm going to show you on screen how to develop a press release. And what's so great about press releases is that when you submit them, they go out to really high authority websites, and those sites will link back to you. And when I say a high authority site, I mean the site that the search engines look into as a site that it's been around for a while, they trust it a lot, and so therefore when you're getting links from those sites, it's actually going to help your website even more. And also what's great is that the search engines, because they like these sites, will rank the individual press releases files themselves for the main keyword phrase if you've titled them correctly. And that's why it's important to include your main keyword phrase inside the title of your press release. So it's kind of an art to create a good press release title, because you want it to be something that has your keyword in there, but you want it to be something that's kind of fun and interesting that encourages people to look at it, because that's going to help you in the long term. But if you can't think too creatively, at least come up with, even if it's the most boring news angle, what's going to happen is if your main keyword phrase is up there, those sites will rank high in the search engines. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, have passion when you're doing your press release, but you don't have to wait till you have the biggest news story in the world. And you're going to actually take it, and there's 4 press release sites I have listed here. There's literally hundreds of them out there, but what is so powerful about these 4 sites is that they get indexed really, really quick in the search engines. And so this is going to help you get indexed and start getting that traffic within 24 hours. And so you're going to go to each one of these sites and actually go through submitting your press release. The next thing you're going to do is write an article on your business. So it's going to be an article of about 300 or so words, 350 words or so on your business, and you're going to go through the process of submitting it to these 2 websites, Zimbio.com and Squidoo.com. And the main points is you just go to these sites and you set up your account, and once you set up your account with them, you just follow their basic instructions for setting up your site. Now what's great about Zimbio is you can actually take and import a blog. So you could actually import your Blogger blog by going to the Post Atom and grabbing the RSS feed, and you can import that content to Zimbio. And also, when you're naming these sites and pages, use your main keyword phrase again when you're doing that. And so these are sites that the search engines have a lot of trust in, and they really they really like these sites. So we're going to show you on screen though in the following videos how to go about doing this step by step. So once you've gone about and you've done your articles and the press release, the next thing that you are going to do is going to create a very short video, and you're going to submit it to youtube.com, rever.com, and realpeoplerealstuff.com. realpeoplerealstuff.com. Now again, there's tons of video hosting sites out there like YouTube, but these are the three of the best ones. Now what I like about realpeoplerealstuff.com, it's relatively new. It's not, obviously as high authority as YouTube or some of these other video sites, but what I like about them is they're designed to be a video classified website. So you can submit there, they intend to run advertisements on there. So with your 24-hour traffic plan, how this fits in is that the search engines will actually index the video pages themselves individually. Plus, an interesting statistic now is that YouTube has a large part of the search market, believe it or not. Like people using the YouTube search feature are starting to use that about as many times as Yahoo and MSN search engines themselves are getting searches. So it shows you how powerful online video is, and that number just continues to rise and grow and grow and grow. So it's very important that you have a video of some sort for your business on these sites. And so to create this video, basically I'm gonna show you in the process but how to grab pictures. Video consists of pictures, and it consists of of pictures and sometimes audio. It doesn't have to have audio, but it certainly helps. And so there's three sites you can go to. One is called sxc.hu. X is in xylophone, C is in cat, H is in hungry, U is in ugly. So sxc.hu, and it's a site that has a bunch of pictures in different niches. And so you can grab these pictures from this site by just using their search features, and they are royalty-free images. They offer royalty-free images and also quite a few free images that you can use for commercial purposes. So it doesn't cost you a dime. And all you're going to do is just get these into a little folder on your computer, these images. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go use a program called Audacity.com, AUDACITY.com. Just go to Audacity into Google. And once you go to Audacity, you're going to follow the instructions, get a USB headset, or sit close to your microphone on your computer, which all computers now come equipped with the microphone. And what you're going to do then is actually record your video and record the audio of you reading the article. So you're actually going to use Audacity to record the article that you wrote in the previous step. And so what's going to happen there is now you're creating a podcast type file. And so you're creating an MP3 file. And once you've created that file and you have your pictures, you're going to go right on over to Windows Movie Maker if you're using a PC, and if you're using a Mac, they have their own Windows Movie application. And so you just go to Windows Movie Maker, and it's going to be in your left hand side of your browser or of your computer, usually the start menu, and it's going to be under the main applications, or just like under applications or something of that nature. And so once you've found Windows Movie Maker, go ahead and open it up, and then you're going to see a feature that says File Import Media, and you're just going to basically import your pictures, and you're going to import actually your images, the images that you took from sxc.hu related to your niche, and then it's going to take the actual audio that you created, and then you're just going to follow their instructions. They give you really good instructions for dragging and dropping the pictures and the audio, and then when you're done, you just choose produce video. And I just explained this process to you, but it's really going to be a lot greater when you can see this step. And so I'm actually going to show you step by step how to create it, so that you totally understand the concept of actually creating your online video. The next thing that you need to do is submit a classified advertisement to usfreeads.com and www.oodle.com. These are two powerful classified websites that are very similar to like Craigslist, and Craigslist.com is another site that you should be using for your marketing efforts. And all you're doing is submitting a 1 or 2 sentence, classified that encourages people to take some sort of action on your site. If it's a free report you have, if it's a coupon for them calling you, whatever the case might be, get some sort of angle, to get them there. And then try to use your main keyword phrase in the title. And I want to jump back to number 9 on the videos. When you're actually submitting your videos, try to include your keyword phrase somewhere in the titles there of those. The next step here, and we're almost done, is you need to go ahead and join a forum within your niche, and you want to use the cPanel option and add the link to your website, the link to your website, add it in the signature part. And then you're going to go inside that forum and you're going to choose the welcome area. And inside that forum, you're going to notice the welcome section, which is where people will go, when they're first introduced. And that's usually a fairly high traffic part of the forum. People, are just saying hello to each other, they're meeting each other. But what's so great is that it's got eyeballs from a targeted audience, and inside your signature, you've got a link back to your site. What also will happen is that that signature will pass, give you some benefit in the search engines most likely because it's another backlink. And so it's all, again, as you can see, working together. And what's great is that these links you're building here are going to be there with your website for quite a long time. And, it's going to stick with your site longer than just after we've done this work. And so it goes beyond just a 24-hour traffic plan. It helps you maintain and get a more solid search engine ranking. But inside this forum, it's a great way to just start getting some traffic that way. It's important to go around to these forums, ask questions of people, make comments where it makes sense to you, and that will impress them, and they will go visit your website typically from that signature. So it gives you more of a long-term traffic option as well. One other strategy that you want to do is create a radio show on blogtalkradio.com related to your niche. So, if you're related to your niche or your business and you want to name the show, try to name the show your targeted buyer keyword phrase. So if, for example, you're in the tire business, it might be, the Stillwater, Oklahoma Tire Radio Show, or, tires, Stillwater radio, or something like that. So you come up with your main keyword phrase somehow, inside there. And you're going to create yourself a little radio show on Blog Talk Radio, and we'll again show you how to do that. And what's powerful is that these pages themselves will link back to your site, but they get indexed really quickly. And finally, the process that you go through in this 24-hour plan is you're going to create a Twitter account. So you just go to www.twitter.com, Twitter, twitter.com, and you're just going to create an account. You're going to choose join. And so if you do not have a Twitter account, you'll want to get one. And you're going to want to include in that Twitter account name, try to include your main keyword phrase somewhere inside of there. And what's so powerful about Twitter is that it will link back to your site because you want to set up your profile so it links into your website. And then, you can make a few Twitter posts that mention your site as well. And then what you're going to do within Twitter is you want to go out and you want to follow people inside of your niche, because that's going to help you get a targeted following rather quickly. And again, all these strategies I just laid out verbally are going to be shown to you in step-by-step video format coming up here next. And so this is the first video that gives you the step-by-step traffic plan. There's 13 basic steps you can use. Now you don't have to do them all, but it will certainly give you the best benefit possible, and that is the most important aspect. This is session 2 of the Traffic and SEO training. In this video, we're going to talk about professional search engine optimization training so you can do SEO like a true pro.
So basically, I'm going to jump right in here. What is search engine optimization? For those that aren't aware, it's basically the act of publishing and marketing information in a way to improve search engine understanding of website content. It's arguably the best marketing strategy ever because it enables you to reach unlimited people with even the smallest budget. Now, I say that it's the best avenue ever, and that's not just because I teach on it and that I'm in this niche. It's basically because with SEO, you can compete with some of the most competitive websites online, like Amazon.com, the MSN Shopping or NBC. I mean, you can compete with some of the biggest websites out there, Petco, PetSmart, and just with search engine optimization, you can compete with companies that have multi-million-dollar advertising budgets. Just through the organic listings in Google. And when I'm talking about the organic listings, I'm talking about the main listings that you see in Google. So when you do a Google search, you see at the top side there is sponsored search results, and on the right hand side you've got sponsored results, and those are results, the pay-per-click spot where people are paying per click. And then you've got the results in the middle where about 85% of real estate on that screen is taken up by the free side, which is called the organic side, and that's where most people are actually going to click on your links and find your information. And what's great about it is that it doesn't cost you anything to get ranked there. And so, as I talk about SEO, just keep in mind it stands for search engine optimization. And basically, it's just the act of publishing and marketing your information in a way to improve the search engine understanding of your website content. It's probably the easiest explanation. Basically, what we're going to talk about is things you can do with your site to make them make them search engine friendly, so that people find your content and you get that free traffic. Here's a few little quick search engine statistics. The only three main search engines to worry about are Google, Yahoo, and MSN. Basically, there's literally thousands of other little mini search engines, but Google, Yahoo, and MSN actually make up for about 95+% of all searches. Google alone gets 75% of all searches. And then some of the smaller search engines like Lycos and Hotbot and some of these other ones, their results are actually come as a result of Google. Google or Yahoo or MSN, one of those search engines drives those companies' results and a lot of the smaller search engines. So in all actuality, it's really pretty much like Google, Yahoo, and MSN own the search market. And there are little search engines, but you don't need to worry about them. Google gets 75% of all searches, so that's where you should focus your attention when you're doing search engine optimization and SEO and looking for traffic generation. Google's really where it's at. Now here's another interesting stat, but believe it or not, YouTube even receives more searches than Yahoo and MSN. That was a recent statistic that's come out. YouTube, when I say they receive searches, they have a search area on YouTube. And that shows you right there how powerful video marketing is, which we're going to cover video marketing in some upcoming lessons. We touched on it briefly last week, but we're going to cover it even more in depth in the upcoming lessons here. But that shows you how powerful video is for driving traffic. I mean, like I said, YouTube alone receives more searches than Yahoo and MSN. That means people are going to YouTube just to find random information. And what's powerful too is these YouTube rankings will come up in the Google search results, in the Yahoo search results, and the MSN search results. So, it kind of gives you, leverage when you're doing video marketing. I just wanted to point that statistic out though, and it shows you just how big the Google search engine actually is. Google is powerful, so you need to focus your efforts around them related to SEO. Every search engine basically looks for the same aspects, very similar components, but the one I really only worry about is Google, and let the other ones just fall into place where they may. And we're going to talk next here about relevancy and search engine optimization. The search engines make money, just so you know, with advertising, and they get people to perform searches by providing relevant results to their users. And so basically what that means is that Google, they get their money from advertising revenues. So all the pay-per-click ads and a lot of that stuff you see, that's how Google makes their income. And so they want people to perform searches on their site, and so they want people to come to their site often because they're finding the information that they want online. So basically, if you're typing in, Titleist Golf Club into a search engine, the expected result is to find a Titleist Golf Club. The user is not trying to look for, they don't want to find information on a Callaway Golf Club. That's a totally different brand of golf club. Even worse yet, the person doesn't want to find information on golf bags or golf balls. They're there to find information about a Titleist Golf Club in this example. That's a brand of golf club. Same thing, it might be a Panasonic HD TV. They didn't particularly look for a Sony HD TV. They were looking for a Panasonic HD TV. So what would happen if the search engines weren't providing relevant results to their users? The people would leave and go to another search engine to find what they want. They'd find a search engine that gave them better results. And so that's why Google and the other search engines, they want, relevant results at the top. They want your site to rank at the top, believe it or not, contrary to popular belief. They want you to have, good content. I'm going to show you how to provide that content to Google in a way that is relevant, in a non-spammy way, so that the search engines will love your site and display it, because it's look at it like a partnership. You want to partner up with Google to help them achieve their business objective, and in return, they're going to help you drive a lot of traffic. You want their business objective is to get users coming to their site looking for relevant results. And that's really their sole purpose online, is to get people to use their search engines. So they do everything they can to make sure relevant results are coming up. And so that's something very important to keep in mind here, and that's why I brought this slide up here. Search engines have a very vested interest in providing the best results possible, as I covered. So I just want to make that point one more time. They have a very vested interest in making this possible because that's their main business. I apologize for the background noise if you hear anything. We're actually in the middle of a huge storm here in Oklahoma, so so I do apologize if anybody hears that. We've got piles of rain and thunder and stuff. Okay, but you need to make your pages and your website as relevant as possible, and that's what we're going to talk about here in the upcoming slides. There are several different on-page optimization factors that you can do to make your pages on your website search engine friendly and more relevant for the search engines. And so I'm going to talk about relevancy because that's so important. If your site is relevant for the search engines, it will rank higher in the search results. So now in order to make your site relevant, you need to focus on keyword phrases. And so after this slide talking about keywords, I'm actually going to touch on relevance. But I want to talk to you guys real quick about keyword phrases because that has to do with relevancy, because the keywords are what makes your site relevant for the search engine results. You know, like I was using that Titleist Golf Club example before. If you are selling Titleist Golf Clubs, if you happen to be an affiliate for them, or let's say you're a golf store in let's say you're a golf pro shop in let's say Jacksonville, Mississippi or something, or Jackson, Mississippi. Let's say Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, there we go. So you are a golf pro shop, Jacksonville, Florida, and you want people to come to your pro shop. You know, that's the kind of relevancy. Those are the kind of keywords you would want to use on your site. And so I want to narrow down here though, so you first understand how do you find the most profitable keywords for your campaign, because that's where all this relevancy, that's where all these on-page factors are going to stem from. And so I want to start here with the keywords. Now some of you have probably seen this slide in some of my other presentations, but I want to touch on this one more time so it really hits home because it's a very important part of this process. So the first phrase here, you know, a generic word or phrase, those are low value keywords with high competition and they have poor conversions. And those would be keywords like pets or real estate or even just football. Those are just generic keyword phrases. They're not going to get you the results you want. That'd be like golf, you know, as another example. Then you've got a category level keywords. They have a little higher value and they are a little easier to rank for. And those are keywords like pet supplies, Oklahoma real estate, and college football. And they're still not easy to rank for because those are still highly competitive. But they're a little higher value. And the reason they're higher value keywords is because people are a little closer to finding what they want. Like, I'm going to just throw this out there so you understand where I'm going with this, but if somebody types in digital cameras, that's kind of a, you know, or cameras, that's a generic phrase. A category keyword would be like, you know, digital cameras. Subcategory would be like 10 megapixel digital cameras, and then a specific topic would be Kodak 10 megapixel digital camera. That'd be a specific topic because it's a specific brand. And you're going to find that the specific topic keyword phrases, they may not get you the most traffic, but they're going to get you the highest value of visitor. You know, it's kind of like if somebody types in, you know, a subcategory keyword phrase, they type in like Sacramento real estate and or pet supplies online. You know, they want to buy pet supplies online. But if they're typing in automatic pet feeders, there is no doubt in your mind what they're looking for. If you type in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma apartment complexes, there's no doubt in your mind what they want. If you type in, you know, Walla Walla, Washington, winery, you know what they want. They want to look for a winery in Walla Walla, Washington, or they want to find a lawyer in, Sacramento, California, lawyer. You know, they're not just going to type in lawyers, California, because California lawyers could mean every single city in California. That could be, you know, a little hairy. And so you want to find and target these specific topic keyword phrases because a lot of people, you know, will sit there and say, well, you know, it's great to rank for real estate because it gets millions of visitors. Well, the phrase real estate, that could be everything from commercial real estate, regular real estate, apartment, somebody wanting just to learn about real estate. You really don't know what their goal is. And when they're typing in specific keywords, like maybe they're typing in diet information, you know, weight loss information, weight loss tips. Those are keyword phrases people know what they want. They want weight loss tips. You know, if they type in acai berry weight loss tips or acai berry weight loss, that's a little more targeted. And so I want you to keep that in your mind when you're doing your keyword research. So we're going to talk a little about how to find your keywords. You want to put yourself in your customer's shoes. What problem does my product or service solve for my typical customer? Ask yourself that question. See what people are searching for to find your website. You can use Google Analytics. It's free to set up. You could use Webalizer or you could use AW Stats. If you are using a control panel account, with cPanel like HostGator or Bluehost, they come equipped with Webalizer and AW Stats, and those are located inside your control panel. And then Google Analytics is something you can find by just going to search engines and looking up Google Analytics. So just type in Google Analytics and it'll be the first result you see, and they'll show you how to install it on your website. And so that's something you want to use because it will tell you what kind of keywords people are looking for to find your website already. And it will kind of amaze you that even though you may not be doing much SEO now, you're amazed that people are accidentally still finding your site. So once you start doing SEO, it can make a huge impact for you. And you also want to consider related keywords. So if you're in the pet niche, it might be like, pet supplies might consider keywords like dog supplies or cat supplies or bird supplies as an example. So I'm going to show you on screen here next how to actually do keyword research. So the AdWords keyword tool, it's an absolutely free keyword tool that I love to use. And so I'm going to just click on that and we're going to pull up the window here. So we've got here on our screen the AdWords keyword tool is up on the screen. I'm going to just bring it over here for the recording. So right here in the AdWords keyword tool, you're going to notice it's going to ask you to enter one keyword or phrase per line. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in a main keyword phrase. So what I'm going to type in here is your main keyword. So if your main keyword phrase, let's just say it is golf balls or golf clubs. Golf clubs is your main keyword phrase. But see, that's not your highest value keyword phrase as we've discussed, but it might be, it's a keyword that gets a fair amount of searches. And that little random letter sequence that I typed in there, that's actually just the standard form to prevent spammers. And so you just fill that in and then choose get keyword ideas, and then you'll wait just a moment. And what this is going to do, this tool is going out there into the Google database and it's pulling up the search results from Google. So it's pulling up a variety of different search results from the Google results. And you're going to see here right inside here, you're going to see it says like advertiser competition, it says local search volume, and it says global search volume. So like global search volume is more like, like it says right here in this tab, it shows the approximate number of monthly number of search queries matching each keyword phrase. So this is kind of on a monthly basis. And so that's a lot of keyword for, people looking up these different topics. And, so basically it's kind of a monthly number, and it kind of gives you some idea of to how they're finding this data. Now the local data and the global data will sometimes be kind of skewed at this point, but the main thing you're looking for is you're just looking for volume. You're looking for keyword phrases that have searches over 1,000 or a couple thousand that are decent keyword phrases to go after. And so one thing you want to do then is go right over here and you want to do a search by clicking right there. It'll actually sort them out by how many people are looking up these various keyword phrases. Now you notice here golf clubs and golf club are two different searches, and that's something that we'll talk about here in a moment, but believe it or not, they actually are different. So that's something to keep in mind. Google will look at results actually different. I'll actually just prove that to you here in a quick little search on Google. So if you go to Google here and we were to type in, let's say golf clubs, you notice the result, and then if we type in golf club, it changed. You notice the result changed by just taking off by basically just taking off the S. The result totally changed. And so if you add the S, so it's plural, you see the results here. It's totally different. So that's something important and something that's really something you want to keep an eye out for, because Google looks at them as completely different, quite a bit different keyword phrases. They have some of the similar results, but they're all not the same. It's not the same keyword phrases. So that's very important. So you see here, you've got a variety of keywords here that it sorts through. Now, what I look for is I'm trying to just find a keyword phrase that has a fair amount of searches. Something north of 25,000 is good, on a monthly basis. And it doesn't even have even the lowest things like equipment, golf clubs, hybrid golf clubs. Keywords like that. It doesn't have to be a keyword that has tons and tons of searches either. It can be a smaller keyword phrase that has maybe 1,000 searches. Because it's going to a lot of times people will not target keyword phrases if they don't see any. If they feel like, well, it's only got 1,000 searches or it's only got 700 searches, I'm not going to look for that. Well, like if you look at this keyword right here, Callaway pre-owned golf clubs, that keyword is only searched for 720 times a month. So a lot of people are going to say, well, that's no good. That's not a good keyword phrase. Well, if you can rank at the top of the search engines and you can get, even half those people or even a tenth of those people on a monthly basis, that's about 100 visitors to a specific page on your site. That's like having a store that has 100 potential customers walking in. And I'll guarantee you, if somebody's typing in Callaway pre-owned golf clubs, and maybe you're an affiliate for eBay or something of that nature, and you're optimizing for Callaway used golf clubs or pre-owned golf clubs, you're getting a targeted buyer. They know what they want. They want a used golf club from Callaway. They're not just looking for used golf clubs. They're looking for Callaway used golf clubs. And so that's something to keep in mind. You've got Lady Golf Club Set. That's a pretty decent keyword phrase. And so, it's just a matter, you just want to look for keywords that have numbers in this column. Sometimes you'll see not enough data, and so I tend to kind of steer away from those keyword phrases. So when you found a keyword phrase, it's just a matter of browsing through here, typing in your main keyword phrase. So kind of your main niche. So you might type in like weight loss into this category here, weight loss, and then just type in get keyword ideas. And you'll notice here, you've got, weight loss diet program, weight loss program. It's got, it's a little easier to rank for because it's called more of a long tail keyword. It has 3 or 4, different words to it. Like here's one: free weight loss programs, quick weight loss center, vegetarian weight loss eating. All these searches have a fair amount of volume. And this number here that you're seeing, it's not going to be 100% accurate all the time. I just want you to keep that in mind. The number you see is not what you get. There's times when this number, it could be way off, or it could, way off on the high end or way off on the low end. It kind of can fluctuate and vary. So don't look at this number like the gospel truth, but look at it as an indicator as to the volume of your various keyword phrases. So that's very important to keep in mind. And you want to find keyword phrases that you're really targeting your main site for. You want, like on your main page, you want to go after those keywords that get you a lot of different searches. Like if you're a finance website, you might be doing something like, small business loans. That might be your keyword phrase if you're doing like business financing or something. So you're trying to get ranked for, small business loans because that has quite a few searches, about 200,000. But you notice here, when you type that in, you'll find a lot of different keyword phrases that you could create content around, So you might have a keyword like let's say, weight loss. Or let's just say, bird watching, for example. And so you type in bird watching as a niche. Well, here's the main keyword you're trying to go after. Maybe you have a site about bird watching binoculars, and it's all about bird watching binoculars as your main keyword phrase. But then you've also got on top of that additional content pages that you could write about, different pages you could add to your site that optimize these additional keyword phrases. And so you can use this tool when you're trying to come up with article ideas, when you're trying to identify article results. When you're trying to sit there and identify, okay, what kind of content could I write on my niche topic? So let's say it is a life coach, as an example. Maybe you're a life coach to help people with personal development. So we do a Google search on life coach. You'll see 201,000. You see life coaching, 110,000. Life coach training, become a life coach, personal life coaching courses, life coach jobs, Christian life coach, certified life coach, and it just goes on and on. These are all potential keyword phrases that you could, what I like to do, the best thing you can do to get yourself the best result is find a keyword that has a lot of searches, a fair amount of searches. Try to target your main, your main site around that one. Like life coach training, it's got a good amount of searches. It's not all that, extremely competitive like life coaches, but what's interesting is you'll notice here, Look what's at the beginning of that keyword, life coach. So you also are optimizing not only for life coach, but life coach training. So I hope you guys can kind of see that. And so beyond that, on your life coach site, create an article around each one of these subject matters that you see. Each one of these are topics that people are looking for, and it gives you article content ideas to write about. Now, one other thing I'll do on top of using the AdWords keyword tool is I will also go and use the free Word Tracker tool. Word Tracker is another keyword research software. I personally don't pay for the upgrade, but you could if you wanted to. But I just use the free keywords tool from Word Tracker, and you could just type in your main keyword phrase here again. So let's say that we find a keyword phrase here, like let's say life coach training as an example, and I was going to copy that keyword phrase. Now keep in mind here, this is important to note, Google's results here are monthly, Word Tracker's results are going to be daily. So it's going to be daily results. Now, you notice here life coach training is now down to 62 searches. But what that means is that there are 62 searches per day within the Word Tracker system. And the Word Tracker system is actually feeding results from Yahoo and other places. It's not actually feeding their results from Google. So you could actually multiply that number by, quite a bit more. I usually multiply it by about 10 times, 10 to 12 times this number. So you take this number, multiply that by 10 or 12 times, about 10 or 12 times 30. So let's pull up the calculator here. So we have 62 times, let's say 10, that's 620 searches a day times 30 for the year or for the month, on average, and that's about 19,000 searches, so. And then if you go back to Google, you'll see it's showing around 9,000. So you can notice that these results are never going to be 100% accurate as to the number of searches it's actually getting. You're just looking for volume. You're looking for some significant volume, some decent size volume, so that you're getting keyword phrase that gets traffic, because you don't want to build your business on a dead end road. You want to build it where the traffic's at. You want to play in the traffic. As a business partner of mine says. So that's something you want to do. You want to be where the people are. So like McDonald's, they, a great example. Another great business friend of mine talked about, where if McDonald's were to build a franchise, they're not going to go build it on some side road. They're going to build it where the traffic's at, where the people are. So you want to build your sites where the traffic's at. That's why it's so important to do keyword research to find actual keyword phrases. So I like to combine these sites because what it tells me is that, okay, both of these keyword tools identify to me that there is traffic for this keyword phrase. So I use these tools in tandem, to determine the best keyword phrases. So again, the free Word Tracker tool, you just plug in your information right there and you go to town with it. So you just type that in and you're off to the races. So hope this gives you a nice little overview of using keyword research tools. So we're going to jump right back here. There's also one other thing you can do with the Google tool that I'm going to actually show you real fast. You can actually search within your competitor websites for additional keyword phrases. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So you notice here, if we were to go and let's just think of a niche. Let's just type in the word, let's just say rock climbing as a niche. I'm just typing that in. So let's say you happen to be in the rock climbing niche. And again, this applies if you're a lawyer. This applies in whatever niche you are. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, if you are a local business, because we have some people taking this training that are local businesses, and let's say you are a Tulsa chiropractor, because that's an example I was using. So Tulsa chiropractor on the keyword research side, you're probably going to find sometimes you might even find your main keyword phrases don't have tons and tons of searches. For them. Some may show even, not many searches, but it's very important that you're optimizing for those, because Google sometimes will not give you, they'll sometimes show you this not enough data number when they really don't have, tons of data. They haven't pulled it. Doesn't mean that keyword's not being searched for. So in those local search cases, you need to determine what keyword phrases your customers are going to find you for. And those are keywords like, if I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I want a chiropractor, I'm going to type in Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractor. I'm going to type in Tulsa chiropractors. I'll type in Tulsa chiropractors okay. Tulsa okay chiropractors. Same thing for dentists. It might be Chicago, Illinois dentist, Illinois dentist, Chicago dentist. You get the idea there. So don't get discouraged if you don't see any searches. for your niche, just, if you're in a city, especially if you're in a smaller city, it's still important that you're targeting keyword phrases, with your keywords, but just think up some keyword phrases that your customers would use, and that's for the local results. But if you're trying to go on like a national scale, rank for keywords like Titleist Golf Club and things like that on a national scale, you want to try to narrow down what kind of volume you're working from. So now here in this rock climbing example, I want to show you how to use another tool to find some more keyword phrases. If I was in the rock climbing niche, I would just type in rock climbing, and I would just go right over here and copy the URL, rockclimbing.com here. And whatever niche it is, you can do this for any of your competitor websites. And you're going to go to the AdWords keyword tool again, and there's an option here that says website content, and you're going to just plug in your URL there that you selected. In this case, it's rockclimbing.com. So just grab rockclimbing.com and include other pages on my site linked from this URL. So you could, as one strategy, is to include other pages on the site that are linked from this URL, because a lot of times rock climbing sites, or a rock climbing site will link off to other rock climbing sites, just like a legal site might link to other legal websites, and things like that, because they offer similarities in value. So what you're going to do then is go by Get Keyword Ideas, and it's going to scour this website. It's actually analyzing the website for you, and it's going to take about a minute, and so just be a little patient here. And it's analyzing the website, and what it's going to do is actually pull up and tell us what kind of keyword phrases they are actually going after, and it gives you some additional keyword phrase terms to consider going after. Now this is a really powerful tool because it kind of narrows things down into little niches for yourself. So you see here, if you do this search, and you can click on that button to sort them by how many searches you have. Rock climbing shoes, that's an entire niche in itself, and so you could identify, and so like if you're in a niche and you see stuff like this and you're not targeting those kind of keyword phrases, you could say, wow, I didn't know rock climbing itself could be a niche. I need to be focusing on that too. I need to add that to my arsenal. So you see here, rock climbing shoes in this example is, right there, rock climbing shoe without the S, mad rock climbing shoes, 510 rock climbing shoes, discount rock climbing shoes, evolve rock climbing shoes. All these came from me analyzing a competitive website, and I identified some additional keywords. So here's under rock climbing indoor, rock climbing gear, rock climbing equipment, rock climbing gym. It goes on and on and on. So that's another powerful way to use this Google AdWords keyword tool. Just like Google's a leader in search, I feel like Google has some of the leading tools that you can use to identify keyword phrases. And they have this set up for people, using AdWords to identify keywords to go after. But you can also use it, obviously for SEO to identify your keyword phrases. So I would definitely use not only the search feature, so descriptive words or phrases where you type in your niche, I would also use website content, because even if you think, okay, well, I have no clue, but I know this is a site that's a competitor of mine, just put in that URL and then it will pull up some other ideas for you. Like here's rock climbing as an idea. Okay, and so then you go right back over here and say, okay, I'm going to consider indoor rock climbing. So you just type in indoor rock climbing in here and you're off to the races, because you're going to notice here, indoor rock climbing. And you'll notice it's going to bring up a whole nother list of results just related to indoor rock climbing. And so finding content for you to write about, there should be no issues whatsoever, because you're going to notice here, like basically I tend to focus more on this global side with Google, just so you know. You're going to notice here a lot of these say not enough data, but you see some that have some search volume within them. So it's something for you to look at and say, okay, even though they have very little competition, these are keywords that I could rank for and get some traffic for. Like indoor rock climbing in NYC, New York City, indoor rock climbing supplies, indoor rock climbing Buffalo, New York, indoor rock climbing Massachusetts. So you get the idea. But rock climbing itself, indoor rock climbing had 130 additional keyword phrases that Google had within their database somewhere. So it's very important to do keyword research before you start taking on, this stuff, because you need to make your sites relevant for these keywords. And so now that you kind of have an understanding of keyword research, I'm going to dig into some more ways to optimize your site. But we're going to continue real quick here with where we left off. So what you can do then is, run Google searches is another strategy that I found to identify keyword phrases. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's just pull up a Google search window here, which I have. And if I were in, let's just throw out another niche market here. And let me just say, let's say personalized jewelry was my niche. So you are a jeweler and you did personalized jewelry. We type in personalized jewelry into Google. Now, a lot of this stuff right now I'm doing is unrehearsed. So, you guys can see it's very, very alive. So you can kind of see how I think. So type in personalized jewelry. That's your main niche. And then scroll to the bottom of Google. And they have a feature here where it says searches related to personalized jewelry. And it says personalized gold jewelry, sterling silver personalized jewelry. These are related searches that Google has identified that other people look for when they're in this niche. So now you type in personalized gold jewelry, you click on that, and it will narrow down even more results. And it will say, okay, so have you considered custom made gold jewelry, Ferguson jewelry custom rings, antique custom jewelry, custom gold chains? So then you click on that, and you kind of get the idea because it kind of helps you identify, okay, here's personalized gold necklaces. That's a keyword I hadn't thought about. So you take that keyword phrase and you copy it, and you can come right over here to the AdWords keyword tool again. And you can kind of now, I hope, understand how this tool works together. And I'm spending a lot of time on this keyword research part just because keyword research is so vital to your online business. It's a very, very important aspect to your web business. So you type in personalized gold necklaces, and you notice that does have some search volume behind it. So that's getting about 1,900 searches. Personalized gold necklace without the S is about 3,600. It's got quite a few more searches. So that could tell you, okay, I should target some page around personalized gold necklaces. Or maybe I should start selling them. Or maybe I should do an ebook on how to take care of your personalized gold necklace. Whatever the case might be, you get the idea of how you can, just by using regular Google search results, you can identify more keywords to go after that you may not have uncovered even in the AdWords tool. Or sometimes you could just start with the regular Google search to start identifying some keywords that don't have tons of competition, because like pet supplies, that's tough to rank for. But you start doing things like like pet feeders, and you're going to start seeing, okay, that's getting a little more narrow. And then you start doing things like automatic pet feeders. And this is a site that I'm a very small owner on, but you'll notice here, we compete. There's sites, Amazon, some other big sites that are trying to compete for that, eBay, and a few others, out there that are trying to go for these different keyword phrases. And that's all just because of powerful SEO strategies. And so let's just jump right back in here. And another thing, you can do the same thing I just showed you with Google using the MSN Live search. You can just go to msn.com or live.com, Live, and run a search on their search engine. And on the right-hand side, as it is right now, they have what I just showed you in Google at the bottom. They give you related searches. Google Insights, that's another really powerful tool. And I'll show you that real fast, and then we'll jump back to a little more content here. The Google Insights tool is another fabulous tool for you to use in your arsenal. And so let's just pull that tool up here. And you're going to see here where it says all search terms, it says search terms. And so you want to add your search terms. So it might be, let's say tennis is your search term, because that's kind of your broad niche. And I want to identify what I'm doing here. So you want to put in kind of your broad niche here, because you kind of want to see what's been going on with your niche over time. And you're going to notice here that there's a variety of different elements that you can gather from just typing in tennis or your main niche here. You'll notice here, this is the interest over time, dating back to January 2004. And you notice how it fluctuates and kind of goes up and down. Notice how it might be going down slightly. It's on its way back up. You can also notice, look at this. There is a big interest for tennis in Australia. There is a huge interest in France and Switzerland, and the United States is clear down at number 8 for tennis. You would also notice, as you keep going, that top searches are table tennis, believe it or not. Gets more searches than US Open tennis or tennis games or other tennis shoes even, or something of that. Those are other hot keyword phrases that you could consider, because you could create a whole niche around table tennis, because you see In the tennis niche, that actually gets more searches than regular tennis. Rising searches, you're going to notice here, Wii Tennis, Virtua Tennis 3, it's like a game. Tennis Warehouse. So if you had a site in that niche, you could find keyword phrases because it's telling you they're trending. It gives you an insight into what the market's doing. Here's another example. Let me just show you one more example here, and then we'll move on. Type in weight loss as an example. And not every keyword phrase will actually come up here, but most will. So you're going to notice here weight loss. In the United States, it's more popular. It's the most popular keyword phrase of all the countries. Weight loss diet is a top search term. Lose weight, weight loss pills. And so you can use this tool synergistically together with the Google AdWords keyword tool. I'll show you one more time what I'm talking about. Do a Google Insights search, look up weight loss diet. So you do search for weight loss diet right here because Google Insights tells you that's a top search with the term weight loss in it. So weight loss diet. I jump right over here to the AdWords keyword tool. I click on this. I follow through their little steps. And I pull up a whole list of keywords just with weight loss diet within those keyword phrases. Now I've got, another 100 or 70 or so keywords just around weight loss diet. Every single one of these keywords could be an additional article for you to submit through an article directory. It could be an additional an additional article to put on your website. And all this stuff's going to work together to increase your traffic because you're having more content. You're going to notice, Ally weight loss, that's a breakout. That means tons of people are looking for it. Biggest Loser, that's a TV show. These are all additional keywords that if you had a site around weight loss, you could focus on. Or you could even develop an entire niche around these. So it's also kind of a great tool for niche research. I'll show you, I said one more result, but I'm going to show you one more here for a local market. Like let's say Chicago dentist, for example. And we'll see if it even shows up here. And it does. It does actually show up some results here. And you'll notice here that it's pretty stable. People are looking for Chicago dentist. Not surprising, most of them are in the US when they're looking for that. And it will tell you their top searches. Dentist in Chicago, Chicago Dental, Dentist Chicago IL, Illinois, Dentist in Chicago, Cosmetic Dentist Chicago. So it tells you right here, okay, these are the keywords if you're a dentist that you should be going after. So I hope that this sticks with you and that you use this tool. It's a Google Insights tool and it's very, very powerful. Google Trends, I don't have to show you that is. You can just click on that and it will actually show you trending topics, so keyword phrases that are trending. Obviously, you can look at competitor websites, you can look at competing websites, and you can look at their title tags to identify what keyword phrases they are targeting. I'll show you, what I mean here by title tags. So I clicked on here, and let's just go and look up google.com. Oh, what the heck? While I'm over here on Google Trends, why don't I just show you that? It bothers me to not show you this. Here is Google Trends. It will tell you you could type in search a trend, for example. So it could be, let's say, Titleist golf club. Now, I'm not really a golfer. I've got a friend that is, but I'm just using these as an example. But you'll notice here it tells you kind of a trend over time for that keyword phrase Titleist golf clubs. Notice here how it really drops off. But now it's become stable over the past several years, and it's kind of rising and going around. You might try, Nintendo Wii, and it will give you some examples. And it also, what's interesting with this Google Trends tool that I do want to indicate to you is it tells you what cities are actually doing the most searches on this particular topic. It'll tell you Nintendo Wii, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania happens to be a city where more people are looking for that. According to this tool than any in the United States. And look at all these United Kingdom sites that are interested in Nintendo Wii. So, that's just an example. You type in your keyword phrase into Google Trends and away you go. But if I go here to Google and let's just type in, Nintendo Wii as an example. Let's say Nintendo Wii in stock, a little more narrow keyword phrase. This is the title tag, which I'm going to address here in a moment. This is the title tag, and so you could just type in your main niche, and all your competitors will come up, and you can look at their title tags to identify keywords they are using. The blue clickable part is your title tag. So let's just jump right down here to the presentation. And then you can also go to ezinearticles.com. It's an article directory, and browse through your category and look at the titles of the articles and look at what keyword phrases they're using in the titles. Because most of the time they will have done some of their research. But like I said, you can use the AdWords tool to identify some keyword phrases. So I'm going to keep going. I tried to keep this content down, but there is so much to cover with SEO. So remember plurals and synonyms like auto parts, car parts, automobile parts. Keep in mind merged and hyphenated words, even misspellings. Like I said, plurals and synonyms, like when I was saying car part or car parts, those would be different. Add keyword modifiers to your keywords. So things like buy Nintendo Wii, cheap pet supplies, best price Motorola. Those are all some indicators and examples of modifying keyword phrases. Like buy Nintendo Wii, that means they want a Nintendo Wii. Find Tulsa chiropractor. Find Chicago lawyer. Find Los Angeles realtor. Things like that. Add those keyword modifiers to your keywords, or add them into your keyword research tool and see if there's actually traffic for them. And so let's just jump over here. Looks like this similar slide. Okay, so next we have on-page search engine optimization. So at this point, you should have identified your main keyword phrases that you are going to go after. And I'm going to step you through the on-page process. One very, very important factor is title tags. Another important thing to consider is using your meta tags on your site. And the next very important strategy is your header tags within your site. And then we're going to cover your internal link structure, your URL structure, the links on your site, and the structure of your actual content. So here is the title tags that I'm going to talk about here. Title tags are very important, like I showed you in Google. It's the number one factor. They're the single most important on-page ranking factor out there. You should really, really take this to heart. This part to heart. If you take this into action this week and Google picks up the results you do, just by accident, you'll start seeing an improvement in your search results. A lot of sites make the mistake of having their title tag read very random things like home, or it might say untitled, or their title tag isn't related. Their title tag might even just have their business name, which that doesn't do a business any good to have your title tag up there. You need to have keyword phrase. And a lot of businesses say, but I need that for branding. Well, put it at the end of your title tag, because if they know your business name, you already have them as a customer. You're in business and you're doing SEO to get new customers. So make sure you put your pride aside and go for your keyword phrases in your title tag. You need to have your keyword phrases. I cannot emphasize that. I'm very passionate about title tag part, because you cannot get by with SEO, and you will not see an improvement in your search engine rankings if you do not focus on this factor. It's very important. It's near essential. It's a very essential part of search engine optimization. So now when you're looking at the code on on a particular page, this is what it's going to look like. And I'll show you here what I'm talking about here. If I were to pull up, let's just say a random site here. So I pull up this website right here as an example, and I go to view and I do page source. So notice I just did the search view and page source. You will notice here, right here, title, it's got their main keyword phrase, Nintendo Wii Tracker, find Nintendo Wii in stock. So notice they're using the keyword phrase Nintendo Wii Tracker because people were trying to track Nintendo Wiis when they were hard to find. So that was their main keyword phrase. And then Nintendo Wii in stock, that's a secondary keyword phrase they're trying to go for. Nintendo Wii in stock online, that's another long tail keyword phrase. You notice how they're using their title tag. And this, when you're inside of your web editor, like it might be a standard basic web editor, like there's some free ones called NVU. Some more common ones used are FrontPage or Dreamweaver. And you click on the code view section of your website, you are going to see right inside the code view of your website, you will see the title tag. It would be between this wording, title, T-I-T-L-E, with carets on the left and carets on the right, and then there's going to be another set that says title, but this one at the end is going to have a forward slash. And so inside that tag, that's where you write your keyword phrase in there. And oftentimes, by default, they will just call that tag, like untitled one or something like that. So that's something for you to keep in mind. So that is where you go with title tags. You want your keyword-rich title tag to show up right there. Now, if you're using WordPress, your main homepage title tag can be manipulated and changed by simply going inside your WordPress and changing the name of your site under the settings. And then you can also use a plugin called All-in-One SEO. It's just called All-in-One SEO. And you can use that plugin to actually change your title tags on your homepage. And so we're going to be covering WordPress later on in this training, not in this particular call, but in future ones. And we'll show you how to do that in there. But if you have any questions on that, contact me anytime this week regarding WordPress. As far as if you have any questions on changing your title tag, please ask because it's such an important part. The title tag should contain the exact phrase you are trying to rank for. The exact main keyword phrase should be at the very beginning because search engines read left to right. When I say SES, that stood for search engines. Search engines read from left to right, just like we read. They will put more importance on your keyword if it's at the left than they would if it's more towards the right. They read left to right. They look at that, and so you want to try to have your main keyword phrase because that's going to tell them that is most important on that page. That page is going to be relevant, there's that word again, for the keyword phrase that you identified from the previous steps. You should try to repeat the keyword phrase or a plural/singular version of it somewhere in the title tag. That's going to help you get the best benefit possible. Now, I'm not saying that you just say your keyword phrase 3 times in a row or 2 times in a row even. Put it in there if it makes sense, and I'll show you some examples here. So for example, keep in mind that the singular and plural keyword phrases come up differently in the search engines, like I showed you. And that's why, golf club and golf clubs was 2 totally different search results. So that's why it's important, to go after those. Tulsa chiropractors and Tulsa chiropractor would bring up 2 different search results. Car dealership, car dealerships will bring up 2 different keyword phrases. So for example, laptops and laptop produce totally different results. You want both of those in your title tag. Here's an example of how that works. Dog collars. Find the best dog collar for your dog. So that would be your title tag. Dog collars is your main keyword phrase with the S. Find the best dog collar for your dog. And what is interesting here is your title tag. It's also, you want to make it kind of salesy almost. Not really salesy, but so it reads well, so it sounds well, so it encourages the click. Because it's one thing to get people to your site, to come up in Google. It's another thing to encourage them to click among all the other options to click that they have on the Google search engine. So you want to make sure you sell the click. So dog collars, find the best dog collar for your dog. Notice I'm using the plural and singular there. Now weight loss, there's really not a plural of weight loss, but I'm trying to incorporate weight loss twice. Weight loss, your source for weight loss tips. Weight loss articles, your source for weight loss article, or weight loss tips or something like that. So you notice how I kind of bring those together. And these again were samples of good title tags. And I'll show you here, I'm going to jump off the page here one more time though, just so you understand again what the title tags are and where I was going with this. So let's just say here, I'm using the Google toolbar in case you're wondering. So you notice here, Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors. Notice here inside the title tags, and you guys will probably recognize this little ugly site that I designed just real quick, and I haven't even finished it. But notice I'm on the first page. That proves it right there. You all saw me with this website. But notice this title tag. I'm very proud of this title tag. Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors. Find a Tulsa chiropractor today. So you notice how that's got the keyword phrase. So notice that again is the title tag. That is in the title tag of the website. That's what the search engines picked up. So there you have the title tag. And so there's that as an example. So if you have any questions this week about title tags, let me know, because as you see here, it's the most important factor, because these are all title tags that search engines are looking at. and 4. So let's go right over here to meta tags next. Meta tags and meta description. The meta tags, including the meta keywords and the meta description, they have a very minimal part of ranking, of making you rank high in the search engines, but they should be used. Now you probably say, why on earth would I say that? They have a minimal role. They used to play a big role until people started spamming them like crazy, and putting in keywords like Amazon, when their site was just about, their site was about a totally different subject like golf clubs. They're putting in Amazon or other random high searched for topics just in their meta keywords to try to rank for, because search engines used to rank them that way. Your meta description is especially important because it is what the search engines will typically pull from the search results to actually include below your title tag. So you need to include your main keyword phrase for the page in there and some sort of a call to action. I'll show you what I mean by this. So if we go right over here and let's say, let's just use the Chicago dentist example. So you do a search here for Chicago dentist, and you notice here, web special, $1 exam, x-rays, or free teeth whitening. We accept insurance, dental gentle cleanings, veneers and braces, cosmetic and family dentistry. That's a nice meta description, because a lot of times what will happen is sites will basically, they won't put in anything special into their meta tags. And so what will happen is Google will go in there, kind of formulate their own little meta tag if they don't have one most of the time. Sometimes they'll just do it anyways. But a lot of the times what happens is Google will just formulate their own. So it does not look very exciting for people. So here's one, open 7 days a week. That's really good. Let me find one. These people have done pretty good on this first page. But let's see. Chicago Dentist Guide. Okay, so here's one. This isn't very exciting. Chicago Dentist Guide, 1833 Dentist Chicago, 1833 Dentist Chicago Reviews, Cosmetic Dentist, Endodontitis, Orthodontist, and all these other big words. That's not very exciting to read that in your meta description. That's not very exciting, and so, this is a lot more exciting. Web special, $1 exam and x-rays or free teeth whitening. That makes me want to click. That makes me want to click on their website. Now I want to point out something here so you understand. Look at their title tag. If you're trying to look for a title tag on your website or any website at all, look at the top left-hand corner of your browser. Whether it's Mozilla or Internet Explorer, that keyword phrase will show up there. So notice how they are doing a fabulous job of using Dentist Chicago, Cosmetic Dentist, Orthodontist Chicago. So now they get the keywords Chicago Cosmetic Dentist, Dentist Chicago Cosmetic, Chicago Orthodontist, Orthodontist Chicago. They have all those up in their keyword phrase in their title tag. So here's their little website. It's very clean, very basic. But you notice how they've done that. But they encourage the click because unlike everybody else, these other ones, they actually said web special $1 exam, and I want to find it. Now, here you go, special web offer. That's a great deal to have a $1 exam. I don't understand how that works, so it makes me interested. It gets me intrigued. And so it's kind of interesting to figure out what this is all about, what they're about. But notice how you want to sell people on your click. And so you not only want to be slightly creative in your title tag if you can. If you cannot, don't worry about it. But use your meta description, because that's your opportunity to encourage people. If you do not use it, Google would just pull something at random. Like Google could say something like, they might just pull something that says Chicago Dentist Orthodontics Cosmetic Dentist Chicago. Now they're kind of stuffing keywords up here, but it is working for them. But you notice that's what Google may have pulled if they didn't define an actual meta description. And so that's something for you to keep in mind, and as to why you need to use a meta description and why you want to use a meta description. So the meta tag should be used very carefully, but it should only include the page's main keyword phrase. So if that page on your website is targeting working capital financing, that should be in your meta keyword phrase. If that page is targeting the keyword phrase, wood nutcrackers, like the little dolls at Christmas, wooden nutcrackers, then that's what that page is targeting. If that page is targeting popcorn supplies or popcorn machines, then that's what it's targeting. If it's targeting antique popcorn machines, then that's what your meta tag keyword will say, but you also want to try to use it in your meta description because, and the reason you use it is not as much for the search engine rankings, but it's more for relation. People typed in, you're trying to rank for a keyword phrase, antique popcorn popper, for example. Obviously, if they type that in, that's what they want to find. So if you include that in your enticing sentence, you could say, find the best variety of antique popcorn poppers here. So it gets your keyword phrase in there, but it grabs their attention. Because what will happen is Google will bold that keyword phrase if it's in your meta description. So it helps your listing stand out a little more in Google. Excuse me. So that kind of is, defined with meta descriptions here. And I apologize, I'm going long. I always go longer than I anticipate. There's just so much content here. So examples of good meta descriptions. Get in touch with a Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractor that is both trustworthy and reliable. Now, I didn't do a good job proofreading that. I apologize. Working capital financing. What is working capital financing? Working capital financing is the lifeblood of your growing business. So it kind of, that one doesn't as much sell them, but it kind of informs them as to what it's about. And so they say, okay, I'll click for more info on that. Or, this one's more like, get in touch with Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractor that's trustworthy and reliable. So you're like, okay, I like trustworthy and reliable people to do business with. So let's find somebody to do business with that's trustworthy and reliable. Or maybe it's something to the effect of you have a free report on weight loss. 5 tips to losing weight. Maybe it's a free report on being a better bird watcher. Maybe it's a free report on rock climbing secrets. Whatever the case might be. Download my free rock climbing shoes shopping guide or whatever. Put that in your meta description if you offer a report, because people like to get stuff for free. They like to be informed. So include those things in your meta description. Here's an example of the meta tag. I know that your eyes might be glazing over right now when you see this, but this is basically what I showed you here. I apologize. What I was showing you on that page when I was doing a file and I did the search for view source code on those pages. This is the kind of result that comes up. This is HTML code, but you can easily edit this code by just typing, replacing these keyword phrases. So when you have your own website, you would just use find and replace, use the view source code option on your web editor, like Microsoft Front Page. Once you're inside there, where it says title, put in your keywords. Where it says keywords and content, you're going to see that option. Type in your one keyword phrase for that page, and then where it says description content, type in your sentence in your meta description. So that's how you use meta tags. Now, header tags are a little bit different. I'm going to go check our time real quick. Make sure. Okay, so we're doing okay on time here. I'm going to try to go another about 30 minutes of content, or 20 or so minutes of content, and then we'll open up the floor for questions and answers. So header tags after title tags are extremely important to your on-page SEO. When I keep talking about on-page SEO, I'm talking about changes you can make to your website so that your website itself comes up higher in the search engines. In the HTML code, like the view source section of your web editor program, your header tags would look like this: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6 with the little caret symbols. That's what they would look like in your HTML code. For example, the H1 tag typically generates the largest font, so it's the most important one that the search engines look at. They will actually look pretty highly at your H1 tag. The header tags act like headlines on your web page, and so I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. Your header tags should look natural, and they'd be like subheadlines on your pages. So like a lot of sales pages have subheadlines, and even a lot of articles, like to break up the article, because we all know people have short attention spans online, and they want to get the information that they are there to look for. So you want to try to include that information in those headers, so they kind of draws them in to read more of your copy. But by doing so, you want to try to incorporate your keyword phrases somehow. So, for example, I'm a Washington State Cougar fan. I attended the school, and so here's an example. Your source for WSU Cougars gear. That's my keyword phrase. WSU Cougars gear. That would be like my H1 tag. Notice it's kind of big and it stands out at the top. And you can edit this by simply finding, inside your view source section, inside your content. You can also modify this within WordPress in the code view section, in the code view of WordPress. And again, if you need help with this, that's what we're here. That's what I'm here for. So you guys have access to me through email, and I want you to make sure you're reaching out to me to get your questions answered, because I do not want you to have any stumbling blocks. So your source for WSU Cougars gear. Your article would go here, so there's your article, and you have a short couple paragraphs to start off your article. And then you also hit them with another little subheadline. Buy WSU Cougars gear and save. So it gets the keyword phrase in there one more time, but this time it goes, inside the H2 tag. And so then your article continues there, and you don't have to use all 6 of them. You could only use 1, or you could use 2, or you could use 3, or whatever you want within that article, but it kind of breaks it up. But I'll show you here an example before I jump off here of a great site that does a fabulous job of using this. This is a guy who runs a site that's a phenomenal SEO guy. This site gets a lot of unique visitors each month, and they have some fabulous content, and it's a site that I actually support and do stuff with. It's a Christian website. So this site, they talk about, is the Bible true? They talk about notice how they're using their keyword phrase in their various sub-headlines. And you can actually size your H1 and H2 tags so that they are not the exact same size. And I'm just pulling up this site just so you guys see an example of a fabulous way to use your header tags and how it kind of breaks up the content. So you notice here, that kind of draws people into what they're going to find on each paragraph. So like my WSU Cougars gear example, that, buy WSU Cougars gear would be here. Their keyword phrase on this page is the Bible true? And, that's the only keyword phrase. Notice that in their title tag. Notice that in their URL structure. Notice that right here. That's the only keyword phrase they're trying to focus on, and that gives you the best results possible. So I definitely want to show you that, as an example of what I meant by the header tag example. So you can jump right over here to internal link structure. So your website should be easily spidered by the search engines. If your site is not easily spidered by the search engines, then that means the search engine spiders and the search engines cannot find your site. Because the search engine spiders go out there to find websites, and they have a little, it's a little program, computer program they use that goes out there and picks up your website. You want them to find all your pages, and you do that by offering text-based links within your website. So you want to have text-based links for your website. So a great example here is Patronic.com. This is a site that I used to be a major owner in. I'm a very small part of it now. But it's a site that we get a lot of it, or actually all our traffic right now, basically through SEO traffic, search engine optimization. And you notice here that on the left hand side here we've got our navigation, and it is all text-based links. These are all text links. And you notice how, you click on them and they go right over there. So what happens is the search engine spiders come in here and they will just eat up this content. So they would just come in here and they can follow these links all the way through to the internal pages of content. And they just go through these sites and they can pick up the content. So that's how text-based links are. That's what I'm referring to. These would be considered image links. Now, we are using image links, but that's because in the footer of our website, we also include the similar subject lines that you saw at the top, in the footer here. And so that is where, that is showing up here. So you've got, what you want to have is, if you're going to use fancy navigation, like using images or using JavaScript or something of that nature, you're going to want to also include it in the footer as a text-based link, because the search engine spiders have the easiest time following text-based links. I'm not saying they can't follow image links, they can't follow JavaScript links, it just makes it more difficult. And they have no problem finding text-based links to find them. And one thing I want to draw your attention to is, notice this clickable part of the link also is the main keyword phrase for that particular page. And what that does, that's called the anchor text. I know you've heard that said before, but anchor text is a very important aspect of search engine optimization, because anchor text is what is the clickable part of the link. It's the clickable text. That's another way to talk about anchor text. And it should be your main key, that page's main keyword phrase should be in that anchor text. So for example, beeper callers. That page right here is all about beeper callers. You're going to notice here beeper callers. That right there, it is actually text-based. That's an H1 tag right there, beeper callers. And then you'll notice here beeper callers, dog beeper callers, dog training. Notice that in the title tag. Notice that in the breadcrumbs, so the search engines can find those breadcrumbs. And also in our URL structure. So it's very, very clean. It kind of just, it's very well optimized. And what happens though when you're doing this is, the actual website itself will rank higher in the search engines when basically it'll help these internal pages of your site rank when you're telling the search engine spiders what to expect. Like they know, because beeper colors is in the anchor text, that if they go through this text, they're going to find beeper colors. So it gives your site, your page, a little relevancy boost, because on this page there's content about beeper colors, because that's what's being sold here. Now you could also have text down here if you wanted to, or other things. But this is a site that just sells products, so it's basically focused more on just products as content. So each one of these beeper colors, if you click on it, it goes even further, and you'll notice Dogtra 2500 T and B 400 yard training and beeper collar. That's a brand of collar. That's a specific keyword phrase. Dogtra, notice again in my title tag. I just want to keep reiterating these points to you so you understand how the search engine optimization all works together and why you want to have the relevancy. This page is very relevant for this keyword phrase. So that's something very important and essential for you to consider. You need to use anchor text when you link into pages within your site. The keyword should be part of the link. So right here is an example. Whoop, let me go right back here. This is what your link would look like. And this says, you could actually copy this down when you watch the recording. But inside your link, where it says your domain, that's your URL, that's your link. And then inside here, where it says Chicago Lawyer, that's like the keyword phrase. So if you are a lawyer in Chicago and you are linking to your website or to a page inside your website, you would want to try to link with the anchor text link, because that gives you a powerful search engine boost. So that's a very important aspect of search engine optimization. You should have no more than 2 links from your home page to your internal pages. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, if you're using WordPress, for example, it does a great job already of providing good internal link structure. You want to use a sitemap and an RSS feed if possible, if at all possible with your website. So you do want to use a sitemap and an RSS feed if possible. So you want to include a sitemap, and I'll show you kind of an example. A sitemap will contain all of your links. So even if you don't have all your links in your navigation on your homepage, you want to have a sitemap link in the footer of the website so the search engines can find it. Sitemap links are all text-based links that basically help the search engine spiders come in and pick up all of your content all at once. So they come into that page and they find all that content, which links to the pages on your site. So it enables them to find all your pages, because it does you no good to have articles on your site. It doesn't matter how great the articles are. If the search engines can't find the articles, it's not going to give you the benefit that you are seeking. The URL structure in here, let me jump off here and quickly show you an example of an actual sitemap. So let me jump right over here. Here is a site that does a great job. Notice here in the footer, if you were to click on sitemap right here, it would take you into a page that has a sitemap. It's got a link to all their different pages on their website. So you notice here, bad credit business loans. If you clicked on that, this site's actually broken down into several different sitemaps. But basically you get the idea here of how a sitemap works. You can access a sitemap from the footer of the website. That's usually the most convenient place to put it. So it's a text-based link that the search engines will look for and grab, and they will use that. Another thing that will function very similar to how a sitemap will function for you is the RSS feed. And if you're using WordPress, by default, your site will have an RSS feed. Your URLs or links should contain your main keyword in it. So for example, it should be like yourdomainname.com / Miami-pest control. So if you are a pest control service in Miami, or maybe you have a site related to pest control and you're just targeting different, so maybe it's like, floridapestcontrol.com, and then you have subpages related to each different city and the keyword phrase pest control. That's just an example here. So floridapestcontrol.com / Orlando Pest Control. Florida FloridaPestControl.com / let's just say Jacksonville Pest Control. Different cities in Florida. And then you get the idea. Tampa Bay -pest -control. The reason you want to try to use the dashes within those links is because the search engines will actually look at the dashes as actually spaces, and so it actually will give you another spot where your keyword phrase will show up in the search engines. So for example here, if you had a site about tennis and you have a subpage about Wilson tennis rackets, it'd be like Wilson-tennis-rackets. Just like you saw on that pet site that I was showing you, for example, notice how the keyword phrase, there's a separation there. So the next thing here, I just want to make sure everybody still hears. Okay, so the next thing you do here is you want to make sure that you have your keyword phrase separated by the dash. And if you have WordPress, you want to use the permalinks from WordPress to do this. So you want to name your HTML. You also want to name your HTML files in your web editor. And you want to do this on your future pages. So if you're using, let's say you're using front page, for example, and you go to File, Save As, because that's how you save your pages when you create them. Just save it as, Miami-pest-control, your-keyword- here, you get the idea. So I'll show you here real quick how to use the permalinks within WordPress. So let me just go right over here to paulcounts.com / go to my administration side of things. And let me actually use a more recent website here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to quickly use this in WordPress, the permalink structure, and then we're getting to the point of wrapping things up for this particular training. We'll open up for questions and try to have about 30 minutes or so for Q&A time. So what we've got here is if we come right over here to right inside of your WordPress, you're going to see on the left hand side it's going to say Settings, and you want to just click on Settings. And then inside Settings, you want to click on Permalinks. And once you've clicked on Permalinks, it's going to have a default structure right here. You want to select Custom Structure. And inside Custom Structure, you want to type in /, and then you want to do the %, which you hit that by doing the Shift and hitting the number 5 key. And then you want to type in the word post name, and then you want to do %, and then /. And what that will do is that will create search engine friendly links for your WordPress. And so by doing so, what it does then is it basically takes and puts the dash in between each of your keyword phrases. So it makes the custom structure show up correctly for your individual keyword phrases. So that's exactly what it does, and that's how you use that. So it's just you log into your WordPress. This is WordPress 2.7. Go under Settings and choose Permalinks, and then choose your custom structure. And then the next thing that you're going to do then is you're going to go right over one other thing inside WordPress that I just want to point out to you real fast while I'm back here. Notice here under the general settings, notice here it says blog title. Even if you don't have the all-in-one SEO plugin installed, you can put in your keyword phrase inside the blog title, and that will give your overall site the main keyword phrase. And then usually by default, even just with the default setting, WordPress will actually put your main keyword phrase inside the article titles of your individual post. But if you actually are using the all-in-one SEO plugin, I'll show you how to use that when you're adding new content. So if you're right here and you chose add new content, and this is going back to the example, so you write in your article title, you write in your article, and then you scroll down to where it says all-in-one SEO pack, and that's the plugin you're going to want to write down. It's all-in-one SEO pack. And then where it says title, you could actually put in whatever title tag you want using the examples I showed you from the training. For the description, you put in your nice meta description, because that will enable the search engines to possibly, you can entice people. You can sell the click within the search engines because you can create your meta description that way. And then you can put in your keywords, separate your meta keywords, which in this case is just the main keyword phrase you're trying to go after. So that is how you do, the URL structure. And so the next little bit here, we're almost done here, I promise. So that's how you do your URL structure. You want to try to do dashes to separate things. Now, content structure. This is very important. Your articles on your site should contain your main keywords near the beginning of them. So you want to write your articles so they're unique, so they're relevant, so they have high quality content. But you really, in order to tell the search engines that an article is relevant for a particular keyword phrase, like let's say the article is on Wilson tennis rackets. If you don't mention Wilson tennis rackets in the first paragraph or two, it's not going to look very relevant to Google, nor to the person using it. So you want to look out for your users because they're there to find a Wilson tennis racket. So if your site happens to come up for that keyword phrase, because you've used it in your title tag and your URL structure, but you don't talk about Wilson tennis rackets till paragraph 3, it's not going to do your users any good. So because they may think, well, I didn't, I'm not finding the content I'd hoped to find on this page, for example. So, in your content structure, you would have like the title of your little article on that page be an H1 tag. And in case you're wondering, if you're using WordPress, and I keep talking about it, but WordPress will automatically put the main title, it goes right into an H1 tag by default. So that's something for you to keep in mind. So it's already done for you whenever you create your post. So that's why it's important to try to incorporate your keyword phrase in your article titles within WordPress. And if you're just using standard HTML to do your sites, that's not a problem at all. Just go ahead and put in your main keyword phrase in there. And so you want to try to have your main keywords, your main keyword phrase, so if it's Wilson tennis racket, you want to try to mention it at least one time or so in that first paragraph. Now, there's nothing. Articles should be broken apart with the header tags in between if possible. Not only will that help your readers, because it will actually kind of break things up, because it's really hard on websites. People don't want to sit there and read 500 words at once. They like to have little subheadings and things. So try to break it up when you're doing your articles on your site. You should try to include your main keyword once or twice in the first paragraph. And place it anywhere that makes sense in the next paragraphs. And that's an important statement I'm making. It needs to make sense. You do not want to write content that doesn't flow and that doesn't make sense. So, I would not sit there and talk all about, let's say Tulsa chiropractors. I wouldn't say, find the best Tulsa chiropractors. Tulsa chiropractors are the bomb. Tulsa chiropractors are trustworthy. Tulsa chiropractors this. Tulsa chiropractors that. That doesn't flow well. So you do not want to stuff with keywords. Not only will that get, a little red flag to the search engines that you're trying too hard to optimize, but it's also going to send a red flag to your readers that you don't care enough about them to write good content. So you need to write good, solid content that they're going to read, actually. That's very important. So it needs to be search engine friendly, solid content. Try to include your main keyword in the last paragraph of the article if possible to kind of close it out. That's just kind of well-rounded approach to getting that content on there. So you want to include one or two times in the first paragraph, where it makes sense in the middle paragraphs, and then try to close out with that keyword phrase. And that's going to kind of give you that nice balance of relevancy, and only include it at the end if it makes sense. If it flows in your close, put it in there. If not, don't use it. Don't say, well, Paul said I need to have it, so you write it in there. Just do it if it makes sense. That's the important thing, is use your keyword as it makes sense, but use it. A lot of times people, well, they may not try to use it. So it's important to try to incorporate your keyword phrase in your content, but don't overuse it. Don't abuse it. Use it, but don't abuse it. Oh, that kind of rhymed. Perfect keyword density is an absolute myth. I know a lot of SEO people might be seeing that going, hey, but it's a myth. There's no such thing as perfect keyword density. Not only will it waste your time because you're going to be sitting there calculating, according to my calculations, or whatever, I've got 500 words of content and I've got the keyword 20 times, and so I need to have a keyword density of 0.113 or whatever. There's no such thing. Don't bother with that. Don't worry about a percentage. There's really no set percentage. If your article makes sense to you, if you can read it out loud, or if you can read your own article and it makes sense, if it reads like you speak, then it's good enough to go. If it reads like you speak and it really gives good content, good information, then it's good. You just want to try to include your keyword phrase because it makes sense. Because if your article is relevant about a subject, obviously it's going to include your keyword phrase. So really, there's no science behind that part of it, or really any of this SEO that I'm showing you. It's just a matter of putting things in good locations. And so don't worry about perfect keyword density. Just write good, solid content. You could write 5 articles in the time it take you to sit there and calculate keyword density of one. So sit there and write those 5 articles, because that's going to do better for you. and then read your content and make sure it flows and makes sense. Just, don't insert keywords because you think you have to. Don't abuse keywords though. Don't overuse them. If you have to, err on the low side of using them, but still use them. I can't stress that part enough. Make sure they're in there because it makes sense. Don't get caught up with it at all. Write for humans and not for search engines, and the search engines will appreciate your content. Like I said at the beginning, the search engines are there. They want to partner with you. They want to show your content to their visitors, believe it or not. And it's not that they want you to succeed, but basically, if you succeed, they will succeed, because as you come up there, you're going to write more good content. They want to show your site, and I'm not saying that they're going to signal you out and pick just your site, because there's tons of competing sites, but it will by default signal you out, because a lot of sites are not focusing on basic SEO principles. They want to provide their users with good results and good information. So if you send people to a site with good information, high value content that's search engine friendly, then you will be just fine. And yes, it does take a little bit of work for SEO, but it's not all that bad, as I hope you saw here. Try to write unique and relevant articles for your individual website. That's very important. Target one keyword phrase per article. So don't try to target every single keyword phrase that you saw on that list, within your title tags and things. If you have a list of 30 different keyword phrases, and they're all in a similar niche, maybe it's all about rock climbing shoes, and you have 20 different keyword phrases that you could go after. Try to write 20 different articles on rock climbing shoe, the variations of those keyword phrases. If you can, if you can write good content on only 5 of those 20 keyword phrases, then only use 5 of those, because you can write, because there's no sense in writing, having 20 spammy articles on your site, if they're all real short, low value content. But if, let's say you have 20 keyword phrases related to rock climbing shoes, and you could easily pull out of 20 keyword phrases 5 solid articles, and then target each one around one or two, one mainly specific keyword phrase that you use in your title tag, that you use in your URL link, that you use in your headings, and that you try to use inside your content. And you do those things, you're going to be just fine. And then you link to those, when you're doing WordPress, it will automatically add your content to an RSS feed and a sitemap for you using the Google Sitemap plugin, so it will be found. If you're using a static HTML site, just put the link, in the sitemap, and make sure you have a sitemap on your footer. And then the search engines will help find that new content. And if you want to, and you're using a static HTML site, use the content we talked about in that first video that has been uploaded for you, where it talks about using Pingamatic.com or another site.
This is session 3 of your traffic and SEO training. In this session, we're going to go over article marketing and keyword research for more traffic and more profits.
You want to write informative articles that help build credibility and that drive targeted traffic and increase your search engine ranking. So that's very, very important. The next thing is to keep in mind, articles increase your online exposure by placing your articles on high traffic, high authority websites. And I want to make sure that I made the screen active, so I'm going to just double check on that. Okay, good. So you guys are seeing the screen. I just want to verify that. So let's go back right here. Okay, so obviously you want to be writing informative articles using that keyword research that we just went over. So when you're writing these informative articles, they will help you build credibility, drive targeted traffic, and increase search engine rankings. People will help see you as an expert, and that's why article marketing is so important to your business. Articles increase your online exposure by placing your articles on high traffic, high authority websites. You're simply providing information that people are seeking, and that's where you come up, and that's why you want to provide the information that people are seeking using those keyword research tools that I just went over briefly. And then at the end of the articles, you want to include a link to your websites. You want to include a call to action so that people will go right back to your website. So you want to have some sort of a call to action within that. So here's a little brief overview of how to write articles. You want to include a catchy, keyword-rich title for the article, and you want to try to write at least 3 and around 5 short paragraphs for your article. So shorter paragraphs will increase the chances of the article being read. It's really difficult to read articles, you've probably seen them that have 150, 200 some words in just one little article. it can be difficult here in one paragraph. It can be very difficult to follow along, and that's why a lot of sales pages and things like that you see online are broken down into a little more easier to manage bite-sized chunks. So you can even try to include some subheadings within your articles as well. So you want to include a catchy keyword-rich title for the article, and the keyword-rich title would be exactly what we just researched. And when I'm talking about keyword-rich title, you want to include your keyword somewhere in the article title, preferably at the as far to the left, the beginning of it as possible. But if you can't include it to where it makes sense and it's catchy, you want to include it somewhere in there. Things like step by step, 5 steps to dog leash training success. That would be a great article title. 5 steps to dog leash training success. 5 steps to putting success. Things like that. Those would be huge for you. You want to provide good, solid content within your articles, within those 3 to 5 paragraphs or more of your article. Provide good, solid content to the readers, because by providing good content, people are going to want to purchase something from you. They're going to want to click to learn more, because they're going to say, wow, he's providing this kind of content for free. What's he got to offer me on his website? Does he have more of this great content? That kind of thing. People will respect you if you provide good, solid, and informative content. Some good subjects here, articles that do really well. How-to articles, I talked about that. Bulleted points, so articles with like 5 bullet points, 5 step-by-step plans, things like that. They do really well as far as getting people interested, in reading the articles and getting them to like draw their attention in. Article subjects, like I said, 5 steps to dog leash training success. That'd be huge, because people say, okay, I don't really have time to read a big, article that, sometimes they think of articles, they think of long, big, educational type articles that people write out a bunch, 5,000 word articles. These are just short, to the point, step-by-step articles. So they're like, okay, I can take 5 little steps, and each little step might be, a little paragraph or a little bullet point or something like that. So, dog leash training, 5 steps to success. And you could actually take that title I just said right here and apply it to your niche, weight loss secrets, 5 steps to success. Weight loss tips, 5 steps to success. Bird watching, bird watching success, or whatever. Bird watching, 5 steps to success. You get the idea. Mortgage, 5 steps to success. So there's a basic on how to write some articles, what you're trying to accomplish when you're writing articles. At the end of the articles, make sure you include an about the author, a bio, an about the author bio or biography, which also is also called a resource box from time to time. And it should be around 200 characters or 1 or 2 sentences, or even 150 characters, whatever it is. You don't really need to sit there and write out the characters. Try to keep it under 200 characters, because some article directories won't allow you to submit more than that. I know Easy Articles let you submit a little more than that, but I try to keep it around that level just to make sure that I get as many pickups on my articles as possible. Or a good rule of thumb, like I said, is 1 or 2 sentences. Inside your resource box, you want to include an offer or an enticing reason for them to visit your website. And you want to include an anchor text link going back to your website for maximum SEO benefit. Now, for those that maybe haven't watched week 2 video, or you missed last week, we talked about how important backlinks are and anchor text links, and that's actually another whole subject too. We're going to go more into backlinking because it's so huge for your success with search engine optimization and traffic. And getting backlinks to your site is really important if you're using anchor text link. When I talk about anchor text link, I mean the clickable part of the link. And hopefully in this example here, you can kind of see what I'm referring to. So you see here in my example of a good resource box, a decent one. This is my name, Paul Counts, as an internet marketing consultant, small business coach. Discover how you can make money online as quickly as today by visiting fastcashaccounts.com, where you can download the free step-by-step video training series now. So what you've got here is, with Make Money Online, that is my anchor text, or sometimes referred to as clickable text. That anchor text, Make Money Online, links to my blog, paulcounts.com. Oops, didn't mean to click on that, but there it is. So it links right over to my blog. And that anchor text tells the search engines what to expect on my website. And search engines love anchor text, search engine friendly links. And I show you here how to actually create that, so you know the code that I use to make a link like that. And that's very important that you're using this, because not only do you want to use these articles to get traffic and interest in your site, but you want to use these articles so that people are coming to your site, and also search engines scour these article directories. They pick up the article directories, and then they'll follow the link to your site, And the more links to your site, the more votes your site has, so to speak, in search engines, and the more votes your site has, the higher your site ranks. So I hope you can see how they work together. Not only do the articles drive traffic, they also drive and improve your search engine rankings, which, when working together will help you increase your overall traffic. Now, article directories, just so I'm clear on that, it's not the only source of link building you're going to want to do. Article directories don't have as much authority as far as increased search engine rankings as they used to, but they still benefit you. So there's other link building alternatives for SEO link building that we talk about, again, more in depth. There's so many things to cover in this traffic course. But basically, as quickly as today, you can just go to fastcashcounts.com, so basically this is my call to action. I have another site I'm directing them to. So I'm getting links into this site. It's just not an anchor text link. And the reason I didn't do an anchor text link on that is because you want to try to limit your resource box. This is really important, to one anchor text link, because you don't want to have too many of them, because the search engines, it'll kind of discount it. So I try to just focus on having one anchor text link, within within the actual resource box. So that's what I try to focus on, just so they have a focus there. And then the website right there, I want to try to build up that brand name when I put in the website. So these could be the same website if you want them to. I just chose to make them separate. And, so as quickly as today, visiting, fastcashcounts.com, and also do that too so it flows, because, it doesn't look right to say as quickly as today by visiting, Make Money Online. That won't flow. So you have to have your URL in there. But you want to try to use your anchor text before you give them the call to action on your URL, if that makes sense. So basically structure it very similar to how I've structured this resource box, and you'll be set to go. You obviously can see how you can include your name, so it builds your name's your credibility, and then your niche, whatever niche you is, whatever it is that you do, try to build up who you are and what you do, and then give them a reason to visit your site. Like I say, discover how you can make money online as quickly as today, and I have a 7-part video series where I teach people how they can start making money online as fast as today using, Google Hot Trends, and I have a nice little 7-part training series, so I get them on my list. And, so that gets them a reason to say, okay, he's got a great article here, so wow, this is really interesting. Where, I want to download this free series. So basically they go right over and they'll click right on that resource box. And that's how you want your resource box structured. You want to give them a reason to go to your site. You want to give them a nice anchor text link so you get some search engine benefit, so you get some backlinking benefit from it. But again, I want to reiterate on the search engine linking part, don't just rely solely on article marketing when you're doing link building. Rely on some of the other things we've talked about so far and that we will talk about here in the future or in the next training. So keep that in mind. Now, article resource box. Here's the HTML version of the resource box I use. Now, when I say HTML, that means the hypertext markup language, which is basically HTML is the coding. You're probably familiar with that, obviously by now, that sites are run on. And most of these sites, a lot of article directories have an HTML about the author section, and they also have one that's non-HTML. And the non-HTML one only allows you to have a link to your site, like this link right here, http fastcashcounts.com. I chose to capitalize the different words in my name just because it kind of helps. It helps kind of stick out in people's mind. It doesn't affect your URL at all. You can type in caps or no caps in your main URL, and it'll go where you want. And so basically, discover how you can make money online. And notice this is the code that I use. So this / you want to write down this one here at the bottom, right here. Whoops. The one that has a caret to the left, and then it's got the A space href =, and then a quote, first quote mark, and then put in your URL. So that would be the link to your website that you want to get the benefit. That could either be a link to your website, a link to an article page on your site. It doesn't have to be to your homepage. You can deep link is what it's called. And deep linking can really help you with search engine optimization. And we cover that in the future as well. But with deep linking, you send them a link. So you pull up your website, your article, maybe it's an article on your site, and you want to send traffic just to that particular page on that article. That would be, obviously your URL, that's where that goes. The link text, that's your main keyword phrase, is your link text. That's where your main keyword phrase is. That is the link text. That is the text that you want your anchor text. That's your clickable text. So that's like, in this case, make money online. And it has to be in between these two little, I call them little carrots, you call them whatever you want. So there's the caret to the right. Some people call them less than or greater than, like the math symbol. So you choose however you want to call them, but it must go between those, the link text, and then it must end with this. You've got a little arrow to the left, / the letter A, arrow to the right. Now don't ask me what all that stuff means. All I know is that it makes a link look how it does. I'm not an HTML guru or expert. But this is the little link code you're going to want to write down, because you want to use this when creating your anchor text links. And you'll want to refer to this in the future too, for when you're doing press release marketing and other forms of marketing on your site as well, to generate anchor text, search engine friendly backlinks that we have discussed before. So article topic ideas, like I mentioned, that keyword research is some ideas, and here's a few more. You can research other article directories and browse the top performing articles for ideas on content to write about. So basically, so you could research these other article directories and research other article directories and browse the top performing ones and come up with some ideas. So you can go to for example, you can go right over to ezinearticles.com, and let's just pull that up, www.ezinearticles.com. And if you go and let's say we narrow down to a particular niche, like let's just say health and fitness, and let's pull down acne as another niche within a niche, and you would see here at the top of all eZine Articles pages, they have a little page up here that says Top Authors in Health and Fitness. And you could click in here and get some ideas for what these top authors in this category. Now, I'm not saying to copy I'm saying to come up with some ideas for article subjects. I'm not saying to go in and copy their articles by any means. I'm talking about coming in there and helping yourself brainstorm some subject ideas that they have used for success, because they're considered a top author in their field. And you can also utilize this to get ideas for how you can structure your article titles using the keywords that you have researched. So as you will recall, the keyword research we already went through in depth. This is how you can go in and actually start going through the process. So cures for pimples. Cures for pimples would be his main keywords. Get rid of those ugly pimples and get your clear skin and beautiful skin back. So there's a little subject. Home remedies for acne. That's his keyword. Space. Use these remedies to get your clear and beautiful skin back. So notice in the title, he does a fabulous job. Now I haven't looked at this stuff yet. I'm just showing you guys this as an example. They do a great job of including their keywords as far to the left, and then they do a great job of trying to sell people on reading that article. So you see here they've got their main keyword, space, and that could be probably the best way to format some of your articles, because it's easy to read. It's got the information they want. If your article title is on, comes up on the first page, not only is it going to interest people because your actual article, not only is it going to interest them because of your article itself, but it's actually going to interest people because it's what they searched for. It's what they actually searched for, so it's going to match up, obviously, and that's why it's ranking, but it's going to match up with what they looked for. Dog leash training, they are looking for dog leash training. They're not looking for, dog training overall. They're particular about dog leash training. So if you give them the article related to dog leash training, they're going to click on it. If you include that in your subject line with something enticing like 5 steps to success, they're going to be really interested in clicking. They'll see like, wow, this looks like a great resource. And then they read through your article, they see your bio box, they happen to click through to your site, maybe they sign up for your list, maybe they click on the affiliate link you have on your site that takes them over to like ClickBank, and it takes them right on over to the affiliate site, and then maybe they sign up and they buy the ebook you're promoting, or maybe they buy your ebook, or maybe they maybe they buy a dog training collar from you, or leash or something like that, for their dog, or maybe they sign up for your dog social networking site. You get the idea. Now all of a sudden you've given people what they want because you did a good job doing your research and applying these principles, and you will be rewarded for that, because not only will Google reward you by ranking the various articles up there because you've matched up with what people want and you have good content, but the people will appreciate the good content, and then you see how this can really grow. Obviously, use the keyword research and then use the idea mentioned above. Work them in tandem, Okay, here's some keywords. Now, how could I, let's look up some ideas of how successful authors on ezinearticles.com has formulated their articles. So use that as a guide or as some examples. Obviously, do not copy titles. Try to not copy article titles, that's not a good thing to do. Sometimes, obviously, there's some article subjects that you may have to have very similar subject titles, um, and that's just a hard fact because there's because search engine optimization. There's only so many ways you can say the word search engine optimization. So I could do an article, search engine optimization, 5 steps to success. And somebody else might have an article, search engine optimization, 3 steps to success, or successful search engine optimization tips. Well, obviously I'm not copying the content. I'm writing my own content. But if the article title is similar, don't fret about it. Just don't blatantly go out there and try to copy them if you can help it. And obviously, do not copy the content that they have within their articles. Create your own content. Be original. You can write one article per keyword phrase most of the time. So as we identified using the AdWords keyword tool, we were able to identify a lot of keyword phrases that we could go after. So creating content for your articles, research other websites, books, and magazines in your niche. Now, books and magazines, that might be slightly extreme. But if you really want to get serious and write some good contents, go to the library or buy a book on your niche, or library is your best bet because it's free. Compile some research. Make sure you give, if you take some credit, if you're taking exact points from, exact written text from books and stuff, try to, put together a little resource sheet if you can help it, so you can say things like, according to this book by this author, blah, blah, blah is true about dog leash training, So I hope you guys get that idea there. So don't obviously plagiarize from books. I'm not encouraging that. Use it like you're writing a paper for college, Come up with some ideas, some subjects, things like that. Reference them in your article. It'll help give you some credibility too. It's kind of using that, what we call borrowed credibility in this industry, They're like, wow, look at that. They're kind of writing an article, that this successful author's written. Wow, this must be good information, that kind of stuff. Plus, it helps it helps that author out because they helped you. It's just, good karma to do that. Take things from magazines. According to Dog Training Journal, dog leash training can take 5 weeks to be successful at, or something like that. So you get the idea. Use books, magazines, other websites. Within your research, and obviously if you just take stats from these different sites, you don't really need to reference them. But if you pull some data or stats that may not be proprietary to them, meaning that's their only source of content, then by all means, use that content, just formulate your own wording around it. But just be careful there. Obviously, I'm not teaching anybody to go plagiarize and copy. I'm going to be very careful about saying that. Don't want anybody to get upset here. But you do need to do research if you're going to have good, solid articles. You need to research your niche market. You can use software to help you find the information you're looking for. And so this is a perfect segue to go right into the software that I am providing for you guys as a free little bonus. So this is a free bonus. It's an article ideas software, and it will help you really write articles really, really quick. So for example, how this little software works, and you guys get a copy of this. It will be available sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours on the same page where I post all the articles on. You're going to get a main topic. So you can just click here where it says main topic, and main topic you type in your keyword phrase. So for example, dog leash training, and just choose go. And then what the software is going to do, it's going out to various websites, and it's actually pulling down some information from these websites. It's grabbing just some basic research information. So obviously you're not going to want to just go out there and swipe this content directly. It's so you don't want to just copy it verbatim, but you can take some of this wording, reword it for yourself, or you can go to these sites and find some more research. So notice how really pretty quickly I got several sites that I could consider. So let me drag this down here. And there weren't a ton of sites for this particular niche keyword phrase, but you could use it for some more broad terms pretty quickly, to get some more ideas. But if I click here, pets, animals. Oops. So that's a bad example. Okay, so you could actually click here and copy. Oops. You can open that link, and then you could go and read, here's a nice little article. You might be able to pull some ideas. You might be able to even, reference this person, the author of this article. They didn't really include a name in their author section, but you could go here and, okay, so that's a good source for, dog leash training. So I could go there and write up some information about it. You could take here and put in, keywords such as weight loss as an example. And notice weight loss and some broader niches will actually start pulling the results that I was hoping that would actually pull from. And you kind of get some ideas here. Now, some of it, is kind of junky, but some of it is workable. So if I just stop that. Okay, and then notice here you can go right over here to the plain text view, and you could actually just take these various little segments and copy, like you could take this whole thing, copy to clipboard, and then you could open up a little notepad file, paste it right in there, format, word wrap, and then you could just go ahead and just start, clean out the junk that maybe comes in. But just, you've got right at your hand some research that you could start doing. Weight loss is about knowing which foods are healthy and eating more of the healthy foods. Okay, that's a good little sentence, so let me go and take another one, and so you go grab a few more sentences, and then you take them and just start, rewording that. So really quickly here, you get your research done for you. So I'll give you guys access to the software. You can play around with it. I was pretty excited when I found out I was able to give this to you guys. So I'm going to enable you guys to use that software. It might help you guys some in your article writing. So you can use some software tools. You can also do your own research on Google itself. That's some other ideas. Google dog leash training and look up some other articles. dogleashtraining.net, and pull some data, information, or get some ideas. Have a little notepad next to you, or a little notepad text file, and write out, okay, maybe I should comment on, write something about this, or read the comments on these various articles and see if people had questions related to that. You can go into website forums, so like, dog training forums, and you could see big questions that people have about dog trainings, so, like there's inside this dog forum that I'm just clicking on, here's a dog behavior training section, or some articles on dog behavior training, so you could pull some more ideas within these forums. And there's just a lot of data that you could pull from. So here's like an individual dog training forum, and you could go through here and identify questions that people have, so then you could answer these questions that people have related to dog training. Another tool example, another tool slash freebie thing that you can use is Yahoo Answers. So you can just go right in here to Yahoo Answers and go ahead and do a quick search for your question. So let's say dog leash training. See if anybody has any questions about it. Where can I find a dog leash or dog training leash? Does dog leash training or dog leash training, how long should it take? So there's an example of a good article. Somebody's saying, okay, dog leash training, how long should it take? I'm going to train my dog. How long should I take for each session? And then you could research that answer, come up with an article, and respond to them with a link to your ezine articles that you created. Plus, you're creating content for yourself with that main keyword phrase. So definitely use Yahoo Answers as another research tool to utilize. So again, we talked about using software. You can rewrite private label rights articles, and I encourage you to rewrite them because you want to have good, unique content. You want to ensure that your articles are picked up. So if you rewrite them, it's basically reordering the content, adding content to them, taking out words, coming up using a thesaurus, which is basically it's a tool that gives you kind of like a dictionary, but it gives you synonyms, keywords that are or words that are similar to different keywords within that. So you might use additional keywords like dog leash training, dog obedience training, or something. You might tie those kind of words in. Leash, collars, those kind of run together. You can try to use those inside within your article. Come up with some ideas, just some various things that might make sense, some core keyword phrases. You could change them to different keywords as long as they mean the same thing. rewrite the article, basically take the content and say, okay, this is good research, but I'm going to rewrite it myself. The great thing with that PLR content, when you're rewriting it, you don't need to worry about referencing, the PLR content because you have the rights to it to do whatever you want with pretty much. So you don't need to be sitting there and referencing people. It gives you some abilities, and you can find private label rights articles by just going to Google and typing in, dog training private label rights, dog leash training private label rights. You might find articles on even the most niche keyword phrases, but usually you're going to find it for broad keywords. But if you have private label rights articles and they already have good subjects that are already getting traffic, you could actually use those as subjects to start with. So a lot of times we get private label rights. Maybe you have 100 articles, PLR articles on the weight loss niche. Well, now all of a sudden you've got 100 articles that potentially have search volume that you could go in and rewrite or combine it. You could even take bits and pieces from private label rights articles, combine them to an original article that you're writing, or take half of a PLR article and combine it with half of an article you wrote. And there you go. You've got yourself some good unique content. Use PLR ebooks that give you the rights to use as articles, because some private label rights ebooks, and I'm not talking about articles, I'm talking about ebooks, so you don't think I'm repeating myself. But private label rights ebooks, typically, an ebook is like 50 or so pages of content, and you could actually take a private label rights ebook. So let's say an ebook's got 50 pages of content, then each one of those pages could be around 50 articles for you. And what I like about using ebooks for is because it gives you a chance to kind of have a slightly more unique content, because most of the people that get private label rights ebooks, they just think about selling the ebook if they do anything with it. Most of the time they won't even do anything with it. But if they don't worry about, most of the time they're just worried about using it as an entire ebook. They're not really thinking about using it as an article now, and so it gives you a little chance to actually, have some good unique content pretty quick. And, to make sure it's even more unique, maybe take one page of content, cut it in half, combine it with maybe something you found on page 3 that was interesting, and, maybe add in your own first paragraph. So you get the idea is that you don't need to write all this content up front. You can also obviously outsource article writing if you want to. You can go to elance.com and put up an article writing project, but outsourcing for traffic, that's going to be, again, another topic that we have to go over. But creating content for articles is, something you can do on your own. You could have somebody else do for you. You can pay about $5 an article and have them written for you. Or you can take, one PLR ebook and, turn those into articles. And so you get the ideas of some things you can do. Some other great ideas for creating content for your articles is record yourself creating your articles using a free program like Audacity, and then transcribe the free content. So you can go download a tool, type into Google Audacity, hook it up to your USB headset, and then what you're going to do is go ahead and read talk about your article. You can speak faster than you can type, and so you could basically take the research that you found on your niche, or even what you know off the top of your head, because most of you have expertise within your niche. Take what you know on top of your head after you've done some keyword research and say, okay, I'm doing this example on golf ball training. I'm doing this, or golf ball driving. Be a better driving a golf ball further. So you can say, okay, that's my subject. Golf ball driving, and then you go sit there and you just start spouting off everything you know about being a better driver, driving the golf ball further, faster, whatever it is you're trying to do with it more accurately, curing your slice in your golf swing, so you're talking about curing your golf swing slice. You give some tips. You're just speaking it, and Audacity's recording yourself. And what's great about it is you're going to be able to apply it to podcasting, some other marketing forms, video marketing, the MP3 that you get after this. And so you can actually take that file that's created, so you're actually kind of doing dual purpose marketing there. And you can speak faster and you can type, as I mentioned. And a good tip also, if you want to have unique PLR articles, is to take private label rights articles and then read them in your own words. So read the PLR articles in your very own words into Audacity. And then once you have have done this in Audacity, just stop the recording and then go ahead and save it to your computer, and then open it up in like Windows Media Player, open up the file, and then sit there and actually, type out the articles. You can transcribe it yourself, if a lot of times people are on a budget when they're doing their marketing, or they just find it's easier to just do it themselves, or they have a spouse or a family member or something that could transcribe the audio. So you just basically take the audio and you just type out what you're doing as you speak, and all of a sudden now you've written an article, and you'll find that in a very short amount of time, just literally like a few minutes, you've said enough to actually create an article or two even. Sometimes within 10 minutes, you could actually write 5 or 6 articles, 4 or 5 articles in just a short time by speaking it. And then obviously you have to go back in and transcribe it, which takes a little bit of time, and then edit it. But it really will speed up the content creation part and make your life much easier. And transcribing audios is something else that you can outsource. And you could outsource it to relatives, spouse, whatever it is, children, whoever you're outsourcing stuff to, outsource to freelance sites like elance.com, guru.com, getafreelancer.com. Use those sites to outsource transcribing of the content for. And that's how you can, start creating some content really quick. You could also use a text-to-speech program called Dragon Naturally Speaking that will actually type what you say. And one thing to use in tandem with it is Audacity, because as you're actually saying what you want to say, it's actually recording that into an audio file, which again you can use for video and podcast marketing, which is a whole nother training set that we will be covering again as well. So we've got a lot of things in store again. The Dragon Naturally Speaking, basically it will type what you say. Now it sometimes is inaccurate. I find that it won't work as great all the time, but it gives you a rough idea of what you're trying to say. And, and basically before you start reading these articles, write down a few bullet points, jot down a few notes to yourself, like, I'm going to write on these 4 bullet points today, or I'm going to talk about these. These are my main points. Or if you know your niche on top of your head, don't worry about writing down bullet points. Just speak, speak in there. And it'll help you create some good, solid, unique content. Make sure you go back to edit your articles after you use them in Dragon Naturally Speaking. It's a program you can just type into Google. You can buy it. I think Amazon even sells it, but you'll find their website too. It costs, I believe the last cost I saw was like $99. Staples, Office Depot, Best Buy, some of those kind of stores, electronics, office type stores, Office Max, things like that, they usually sell Dragon Naturally Speaking software. It's about a $100 software program, but with a good USB headset, it can actually really save you a lot of time, as far as outsourcing, the articles. You get content that's really in your voice, for sure it's in your voice. It really speeds up the process to do a lot of things, but you just need to make sure you go back and edit the content, but you can write some article content really, really quick. So those are some strategies to really start ramping up the process on top of using private label rights content. So again, you don't need to worry about, if you are scared to sit down and type in front of your computer and that you get writer's block by looking at the blank screen, don't let that hold you back, because it's all about creating as much content and information as possible. So that's really what it's all about. So we're going to just continue on here and talk a little bit about maximizing your traffic opportunities. So you want to create as many articles as possible when you're doing article marketing. Basically, the more articles you can create and distribute, the more traffic you can start to see. Now, I know that might seem like, well, that's a no-brainer. Why did I just pay Paul to tell me that? Well, it's because you need to be reminded that it takes effort, and it takes, a little bit of time, but effort. And that's when you're going to start seeing results. Your efforts going to start coming up to match a reward. So the more articles you can create and distribute, the better you're going to be. If you can write 50 articles to distribute, you're going to be that much better than if you had just written one article on one core keyword, because now all of a sudden you're targeting 50 various keyword phrases. And ensure you have keyword-rich titles that have been researched, so you know that there is an interest in those topics. That's how you can really maximize article marketing. Like I said before, when we were doing that keyword research using Google Insights, using Google AdWords tool, using all those things together to generate as much good keyword research as possible, you want to know that those topics are being searched for. You want to know that they are hot topics. And then you want to have a good resource box, because it does you no good if you don't have a resource box, or if you have a resource box that's kind of boring, or basically you want to give them an incentive to click on it, whether it's your free report, whether it's more fabulous content, whether it's more of you, whatever it is that gets them excited to go to your site. You want to have a good resource box, whatever, maybe you're having coupons, promotions, whatever it is, give them an incentive within your resource box to click on your links in your resource. And in most article directories won't let you do more than 2 links, so you want to try to limit it to the 2 links I showed before, which is your anchor text link, which helps for search engine optimization, and a direct link to maybe your offer page, your website, or whatever it is. But you want to make sure they're linking directly to your website. That may seem like a no-brainer, but it's very, very important. So to maximize your traffic opportunities with article marketing, there's just 3 really core things. Create as many articles as possible, and ensure you're using keyword-rich titles that you have done some research on, there's an interest, and then have a good resource box. It takes a little bit of work, but I hope you saw in the previous steps that I went over some methods for generating content quickly without having to worry about writing as much. So I hope that encourages you to do more article marketing. Distributing your articles. You can distribute them through article directories. And we'll cover a few good article directories to use. You can go to Google and even type in article directories to find some good ones to submit to. Article directories, Easing Articles is one I talk about, goarticles.com, and I'll have a slide with those on there. But those websites, they're high authority sites. Google still ranks them high. They're great sites as far as getting good traffic from them. They have huge amounts of traffic. People not only finding them from the search engines, but also within the websites, people are actually finding the information useful, so they're inside the site, typing in things like, weight loss or dog leash training or dog obedience to find more articles on their subjects. If they stumble across your article and you have a good resource box, they get, they'll click through. It's all about getting as much traffic as possible to your article. So, article directories are really important to submit to still. Very important. You don't want to use it as your sole link building strategy, but it can help you. It can really help you not only rank in the search engines by an improved amount of link building ability and having an increase in the number of various ways that you're doing link building, but it also is going to help you just from a sheer traffic standpoint. Some other strategies is to offer to write articles for blogs and websites in your niche. Now, I know this might seem weird, like why do I want to create content for somebody in my niche or something else? Well, find a site that is an information type portal or a hub in your niche market, and make posts on forums in your niche. So like the Warrior Forum if you were in internet marketing, or maybe it's a weight loss forum, and find forums in your niche and tell them that you would like to write a few unique articles. So inside these posts, you want to make posts telling people that maybe it's in the joint venture section or about me section inside the forum or something like that, or come up with an area. Maybe they have a free section or a networking section or something like that. But basically say that you'd like to write a few unique articles, so articles that are only going to be used for those one websites. But in exchange for you writing a unique article for them for free, you want to include an anchor text link to your website. What's going to happen though is that a lot of these sites, they're good authority sites. They have good traffic to their sites. You'll get good traffic from the sites, but more importantly, you're getting a good anchor text search engine friendly link going to your website, and that's a good advanced little SEO link building tactic. And you could also, just do straight emails to website owners. Use domaintools.com, DOMAIN, domaintools.com. Type in the website that you're interested in, and it should bring up the contact information for that website owner. Now, they may not have, all their information public, so if they don't, just move on to the next one, or try to find their information if you really want them. Submit the contact us form on their site, or sign up for their list and email them that way. Come up with a way to kind of try to get in touch with them. Hit their support desk up. I had somebody just do this, for me. They offered to write me 2 articles for my blog, and they were, in exchange, they're doing anchor text links. I knew exactly what they're doing, but I still took them up on the offer because and the articles look great. I'll take 2 fresh, unique, solid articles in exchange. All I'm doing is linking out to their site. They have relevant sites. I obviously looked at their sites before I approved the articles to make sure they were sites that my users would benefit from and that were beneficial, so it wouldn't hurt me by linking out to them. So, obviously you're not going to link out to a Viagra site or something like that, when you're in the pet niche, or something like that, or some other, casino site or a site, that's got a bad website. You don't want to be linking off to bad websites. You want to link off to sites within your niche. You don't want to be in the dog training niche linking off to internet marketing, type website either. So keep that in mind as well. So make sure when you're when they're doing this for you, if you have your own site and somebody offers this for you, or if you offer it for somebody else, make sure it's relevant, because it's going to benefit them if it's relevant too. Google will frown on sites that are linking out just, to link out to other sites. And what's great though is you get a good one-way link, and search engines like one-way links, especially links that have text, surrounded by text related to that subject. So that's going to be huge. So you could offer to write a unique article. That's important. You cannot write this article and then distribute it to article directories because they did not ask you to do that. That's not you'd be lying if you did that. So you want to only take the article and use it only on their website one time. And yes, it might take you some time, and you might say, well, why do I want to do this again? But it's all about getting that good anchor text search engine friendly backlink to your site. And make sure that they keep the site, keep it live on there. Maybe just tell them, but usually by default they're going to put it up there, set and forget it, and it's going to be live there. So another thing to use is use an article software service to submit your articles. Articlemarketer.com is a great one that I use as well. It's tremendous. It actually takes your article and will blast it. It does cost money, so it does cost a little bit of money, but it will take your articles and blast it out there to several sites at once, several sources at one time. It will take it and submit it to a lot of article directories with one fell swoop. So that's a good service to look into. So you might try articlemarketer.com for that, or you might try other software services. I have another one I'm going to tell you here in a second. Some other ideas is research websites that want content in your niche, because not only this is not talking about finding articles that you don't know if they want your content or not, which usually they will. They like unique content because it helps them. Like the guy that's writing articles for me, he wrote some good articles. It's going to help me rank higher in the search engines. And so yeah, I'll put unique content because Google likes good content. It gives me an additional page of content because my blog, he's got one measly link to his site, but on my blog I've got my opt-in page and other things like that, but the main benefit for him is the anchor text search engine friendly link he's going to get from me. But you could do searches for golf. Like golf, I'm just talking about your niche, so bird watching, golf, dog training, dogs, cats, pets, whatever it is, how to, golf how to. So this would be sites related to how to information on golf. Typically, they're how to type sites, so they want user generated content. You could do a Google search for your niche and then the word submit article. So that's beyond just article directories. That's finding directories that are just niche specific. So niches, article directories just related to pet websites or pet owners, or niche article directories just related to golfing or bird watchers or things like that. There's a lot of blogs out there that want people to submit articles for them. So doing searches like that will help you identify some other blogs within your niche you can get links from. Type in words like your niche information, so golf information, golf and submit content. Same concept as when you're writing and submit article. That will bring up some other sources you can use to leverage article marketing. Sites that may want your article. Some of them may not even make you do the article exclusively. They may just want the article just to have more content, and then you can also distribute it. But if you find some good high authority sites that get some decent traffic, not only will you get benefit from the traffic, but again, that search engine friendly link on those other sites is going to be huge, because now I talked about article directory links not having as much weight with search engines, but they still carry some good weight for you as far as links go. But if you're getting links from other websites in general, not just article directories, but other websites, it's really going to actually benefit you, because you're getting little votes and links going into your site from other pages. So if you're using a good anchor text link, or even just the link itself, but anchor text is the preference, you're going to notice and see a good improvement in your overall search engine rankings, which search engine rankings we know give you excellent targeted free traffic to your website. Another great service to use is article marketing automation. Now, I know you're like, wow, Paul, that is very blatant that you're using an affiliate redirect link, and yes, I am. I'm going to be honest about that. It is a tremendous service. I've just researched it, and I'm amazed. I actually got some reviews from some other people that have used it. I've contacted their support desk to make sure it's doing everything they're saying. I'm going to actually start using this tool. It is incredible. It will actually take your article. They have a network of blogs, and I'm not just hyping it up because I'm promoting it too. It's a really cool tool to have in your arsenal. Basically, it works. It'll blast your articles out there to not article directories, but actually blast you out to unique blogs and niches. So various blogs and things that they have in their network. So there's a lot of people, and you can actually sign up for a free version, a free account with them. And what you can do is you can actually submit your own you could create your own little website and then only take articles from article marketing users that are good, solid articles related to whatever niche you're in. So you could have a site related to weight loss and get a steady flow of good, solid weight loss content that's not blasted out to a whole ton of article directories, but that's just pretty much focused within that network. And it will really help you get some good solid content on your own site. So there's a lot of website owners that have little content sites that they're making money through AdSense or other things. And these are sites that have page rank on them. They have good page ranks, very clean looking sites. They have several thousand in their network that they could potentially distribute your site to. They do it in a natural way, so it doesn't look bad for search engines. And what I like about their service is anywhere within the article you can provide an anchor text search engine friendly link to your offer, to your website, whatever it is. That's more beneficial a lot of times than just the article directories, which make you only put it in the resource box, which is typically found at the bottom. Sometimes it's buried below an advertisement, so it's harder for people to find it. And so with this, you can just put that link right there. Right now, it's only $47 a month, which is quite inexpensive for being able to submit unlimited articles to their service. And I found it to be an absolutely amazing service. I'm signing up and going to start really using it hard. But before I recommended it, I did check around and see what other people thought. I did actually, I have been recommended this from some other very good marketers, respected marketers, and I have actually contacted their support desk to find out some things too to make sure I was on the right track. And what's great too is they let you submit to unlimited niche markets too, because like if you have a site on babies and you also have a site on weight loss, they will distribute your content to sites in the baby niche and then sites only in the weight loss niche. You're getting your content posted on relevant websites that will, they're only niche specific type sites, so you can, and they let you submit unlimited articles for unlimited niches, and that's a really low cost that they offer. So you can just get it at seocounts.com/AMA, or you can just go to Article Marketing Automation if you'd like to in Google if you don't want to go through my link. But there it is, my link, seocounts.com/AMA. It's a great service. Submit to Web 2.0 properties. Web 2.0 properties in itself is a whole nother video that I talked about and that we promised that we're doing. You're probably like, man, there's still a lot of ground to cover. Well, we're only on video 3 of our 3 of 8 part series. So this is a huge series, and it's becoming quite the course. But you can submit to Web 2.0 properties, submit your article to them. Same ones you're submitting to article directories to squidoo.com, hubpages.com, and weebly.com. And so obviously these are some great sources for submitting your content and your articles. Now here's a list of some top article directories. I've been talking about easingarticles.com. I'm sure you've heard about it by now, but it's huge. There's really no reason for me not to mention it. It really gives you great benefit, great traffic. It ranks high in the search engines. It's just a huge article directory. You can't go wrong submitting to them. Really, as long as you're submitting good content and you write, you submit good content, you submit good content often, and you have a good keyword-rich title, you're going to be in great shape submitting to any of these article directories. But goarticles.com, articledashboard.com, articlesbase.com, articlesalley.com. iSnare.com is another one. They have a little paid service. It's like $1 or $2 per article, depending on what little option you choose. So you may not want to submit tons and tons of articles to them, but they also have a similar service to Article Marketer, where they'll take your article and distribute it to a bunch of different websites. And I actually find that they submit to a few different places than Article Marketer does, because they also submit your article to list owners, believe it or not, Easing article owners, and sometimes they will actually take the good content articles and post it inside their list, so, and their list will actually start funneling traffic to you, or they'll post it on their websites and things like that, for content. Helium.com is another site to consider. They have a profile page where you can actually set up links into your website, so you don't get a direct link in the resource box. What's great about Helium is it does rank high, and you actually can make some money from just writing good content. The problem with them is the content needs to be more unique just for their site, but they are a pretty high authority website. They're a site you could leverage for some good traffic potentially. And then just make sure you set up your profile correct with backlinks going to your site inside your profile page, because they'll link in they don't really have a resource box where they say this article is written by and they put like your username. So your username, you could just make your name and it's clickable and it goes right into the profile page, and that would be a nice way for people to say, wow, I'm going to check out this guy, and then there's a link to your website inside there. So, use your profile page if you use a site like Helium. I definitely recommend the other 6 for sure. Great article directories. If you don't want to pay anything, obviously, and you want to just write one article, don't want to write 2, don't use Helium then. Use the other 5 that I talk about here, and do a Google search for article directories again to find some more article directories. Here's a brief little how-to of distributing to article directories. You want to use a TextPad file to copy from when you are distributing articles. So you want to include your title in the little TextPad document. You want to create a list of keywords related to your article. And you want to create a summary for your article which will entice people to read it. Usually the first sentence of the article will do just fine. So it's the first sentence of the article. It will work just great for you usually as far as the summary. Now, sometimes if you can be creative with it, if you want to give them, discover the 5 keys to dog leash training success, and that'll kind of be kind of an enticing 1 or 2 sentences that you could put together. And that summary sometimes will kind of be the summary that displays on the article sites itself, when people are inside the article directories. And so, but most of your traffic when you're doing keyword research will come just from the search engines themselves. But I like to, I write my articles in a Word document, or you could use like, Open Office Writer as another option. So I write them out in that document, and then I'll take them and I'll copy them into a TextPad file or a Notepad file, which is free on on all computers. And you just take the Notepad file, paste it in there, and then you can actually copy the content from your Notepad file, and then move that content when you're just copy and paste from that Notepad file to the article directories, because that's going to give you the cleanest result inside the article directories. Because what happens when you're copying and pasting from Microsoft Word is sometimes you get some bad formatting with the articles, so it's really important that you use TextPad documents, and that bad formatting will make your articles look bad, that may cause them to not be approved, all these different things. So you want to include your About the Author section in there as well, which would include the full HTML resource box that I showed you how to set up. And then again, copy from the Notepad file when distributing. I said that again on purpose because I want to make sure you are taking your article from your Word document to your Notepad file. There's nothing saying you can't write it in Notepad file. It's just preference. If you prefer to just type it out your article in your Notepad file, just make sure when you're writing articles or however you're doing your article creation that you are saving on a every once in a while, and make sure you're saving the articles because you do not want to lose those articles. And then just copy from the Notepad file when distributing them, because that's going to give you the cleanest results. Now, marketing your articles, you can ping each of your articles with pingomatic.com. And so just go over to pingomatic.com and you could just ping it after you distribute it. And then you can bookmark each of your articles that you distribute using socialmarketing.com or onlywire.com. Onlywire is a tool we talked about in the first video, and we're going to talk about it in our social bookmarking lessons as well. And so you can just go through these phases, and we go way more in depth on some of these methods, but what this is going to do, it's going to help the search engines pick up your article after you've distributed it and created it, and it's going to really help them start indexing that content, because you want that content indexed quickly so you can start seeing some traffic benefits from the content. So this method right here, using those 2 things of bookmarking and pinging it, will increase the effectiveness of your article marketing tremendously, because it's going to get more people, more targeted, focused people to your sites, to your articles, which translates to more visitors for your website. And here's, in closing, a weekly article marketing plan of action. So the first one is to research keywords and subjects for your articles using the keyword research that I identified at the beginning of this video. You're going to want to make a list of 25 potential article titles. And because the key here is, if you can do this on a weekly basis, you are going to be in a great shape within your niche market, or whatever niche you're in. But if you can create 25 articles per week, that's going to translate to about 100 articles per month, and in exchange about 1,200 articles per year that you are working on creating and distributing. And really though, don't worry about like, wow, I gotta do 25 articles. This isn't really your homework, but this is really a plan of action to really kickstart your traffic through article marketing. And you really, if you break it down, it's really just 3 or 4 It's just 3 or 4 articles per day. So you see here, 25 articles spread out over 7 weeks. That's 3 to 4 articles per day. So it's not too bad. So if you can set aside, say it takes you 10, 15, 20 minutes per article. Let's say it takes you a while when you're first starting out, up to 20 minutes. That's an hour a day. We all have an hour a day, so you spend an hour a day that you could be spending on this instead of maybe watching TV or something else. To just focus on doing some traffic generation methods. Maybe go home an hour late, whatever it is. Come up with a way to kind of fit in an hour extra a day, and just go through it and start coming up with 25 articles. Maybe it's just the weekends you have time for it. Saturday, Sunday, rip out 12 or 13 articles in one day. Focus on it for a couple hours, do something else, come back, focus on it again. But you want to make a list of 25 article titles so you can try to do about 25 articles. And if that discourages you, do 1 article a day. Do 7 articles for the week. If that discourages you, do one every 3 days. Have 2 articles that you come up with over the course of a week. But the more you do, the better you're going to be, and that would include make sure it has good keyword rich title tags again. The next step after you've chosen your titles and selected them, start writing your articles. If you have PLR, use it. If you have that keyword research software, if you have the Audacity software, or that software I'm going to give you guys to research, the Audacity program to just read your articles quickly, or come up with the articles, use those tools as well. And then submit the articles to article directories after you've created them. So you could do a thing like, say you write 5 articles, you distribute 5 articles. You write 5 more articles, you distribute another 5 articles. And you just go from there. And then you work on pinging each and every one of your articles after you distribute them on the various websites so that they get picked up. And then you'll want to try to bookmark your articles. I know this may seem like a lot of work, but a lot of work is really what separates those that succeed with traffic generation and those that don't. And the reason you're in this course is because you guys want to get more traffic, because you understand that without traffic, your business online really won't do anything, because it doesn't matter how you're getting your traffic, whether it's even through joint venture partners, through emails or whatever. Without any eyeballs to a website, nobody's going to nobody can take you up on your offer. So it's a matter of, looking at it like, this is my livelihood, this is what I want to do, and then just going after it and hitting it hard that way and working your tail off. And not necessarily working your tail off, because sometimes it can be fun, to do this stuff. I thoroughly enjoy what I do, and I hope you guys do too. It's fun to make extra income. It's fun to make a full-time living doing this. Depending on whatever it is, it's, your business, you're in your business because you think it's fun, hopefully, and enjoyable, and whatever the case might be. But go through this weekly plan of action, and the final step is repeat these steps above each week if you can, because it's all about consistency, and consistent action will lead to some consistently great results. And somebody else before me may have said that. I just came up with that little slogan together, but consistent action will create consistently good results. And basically just take these steps, repeat the steps above each and every week, and you'll succeed greatly with article marketing above your competition. Because if you look at it, by the end of the year, you could technically have 1,200 articles 1,200 articles themselves that could be out on the internet, and that's just on Ezine articles. Now, if you distributed each one to 5 places, that's all of a sudden 6,000 new exposures for your business. If you submitted them through article marketing automation and say they go out to 50 to 100 sites at once with that service, that's now, let's see, 50 times 1,200. We're talking like 60 to 100,000 exposures. So I hope you start to see how big this can get, because it's all about massive action, massive exposure, massive traffic, and massive profit.